Lovely and welcome to Forever Rugby on Forever Sports. For today's how to watch guide for the Summer Nations series, which really gets underway in all earnest this weekend. And the good news is there are a range of broadcasts which will be showing all the action throughout the rest of the month. Lots and lots of cool sport on. In terms of the Summer Nations, this weekend we have got Scotland versus France, Wales versus England, Ireland versus Italy. Next weekend, England versus Wales. The box play against Wales, and it'll be on. So that'll be part of the Summer Nation series, as well as New Zealand games as well. So there's a whole bunch of games that's going to be part of the Summer Nation series. It's basically the Autumn Nation series, which is what the end of year tour has become, but now in August as a Rugby World Cup warm-up schedule. And the big question is, how can I watch all the action? Right, well, the good news is that, first of all, there are free-to-air broadcasters, and you can watch the entire week or month's coverage live on Amazon Prime with a free trial. However, these are only available for those in the UK or in Ireland. So if you're outside those territories, you can still use the same method I'm about to show you, but you're going to have to use a VPN. Now, we recommend using either ExpressVPN or else Bitdefender over there, which are one of our partners. They've got a very good functional VPN, which works very nicely. And basically what you're going to do, I'm going to show you how to use ExpressVPN. So first things first, you're going to go down into the description below. You're going to download your VPN. I'm going to show you what ExpressVPN looks like. And once you install, it's going to look something like that. You're going to go to these three little dots over here. That's going to bring up a bunch of locations. And you're going to go and select the UK. Once that is available, you're then going to go to I'm going to recommend using Amazon Prime because every single game is on there and you can get a free 30-day trial. So you're then going to go to Amazon Prime, amazon.co.uk, and then the Prime address there. And because you're connected through the VPN, it basically geolocates your device to make it seem as if you're in the UK. As a result, you can get access to the Prime thing. And there it is, these are all the Autumn Nations games and stuff like that. If I go to Scotland versus France, you'll see they're included with Prime. It goes live tomorrow. The nice thing about Prime is it's got brilliant panels. It's got really good coverage. It's got different languages, for example. And if you scroll over here, you can see there's the Wales versus South Africa game, as well as in Welsh language. We keep going over here. There's just so many various games across the rest of the month, which is going to be really, really cool. So if you have any questions, put them down in the comments below. Certain games will be on RTE, which is a free-to-air broadcaster. So we'll be doing specific videos on those games, showing you how to watch. But apart from that, get yourself an Amazon Prime free trial. Get yourself a VPN so you can access it and watch all the action live throughout the rest of the month. If you have any questions, put them in the comments below. Apart from that, smash like on the video, subscribe to the channel as well, and I will see you guys next time. Right, and we are live. Good evening, hello everybody, and welcome to Forever Rugby on Forever Sports. It is a Thursday night, which means, you know what it means. It is the fan forum, a little bit of a smaller fan forum. The fans, they've left us. So you're going to be stuck with myself and Chris for the next hours. We're going to chat about a lot, actually. A lot has happened in the last 7 days since we had the fan forum. A lot of drama, a lot of controversy, a lot of team announcements as we sort of build up to the World Cup, which gets underway 3 weeks tomorrow. But before we get to that, Chris, are you well?
Yes, Stevie, I'm well, thank you. Yeah, good to be back. I think it's been a few weeks since I've been on the show. So yeah, it's good to be back. And obviously, we'll talk some betting, so hopefully we can continue the good streak that we've been on.
Yeah, so in case you are new to the fan forum, this show is brought to you by Boyle Sports, who are our official betting partner for the channel, and they've got a lot of cool sign-up deals for you. So if you do not have a Boyle Sports account, they have recently launched in South Africa. They're also overseas in the UK and the likes, and so you can go and check them out wherever you are. But if you are in South Africa, you can get a sign-up bonus of up to R1,000 as when you make your first deposit when you sign up for Boyle Sports. Link in the description. We're going to put a link in the chat as well. Please do go show them their support. And we're going to talk about, Chris will be giving a couple of bets later in the show. We'll be looking at our season record, which is looking pretty good. And hopefully we'll be picking up going into the World Cup as well, because I think a lot of rugby is about to start happening. But the World Cup I think is going to be quite an interesting one to bet on itself. But we'll talk about that in a little bit. But yeah, if you are new to the show, go and get that sorted and get yourself a Boyle Sports account. Right, this weekend we've got Summer Nations action. The Boks are back in action. They're taking on Wales, a bit of an experimental Welsh side. We've got Ireland versus England. We've got France versus Fiji. I think Georgia are playing the USA. And then we've also got to talk about Owen Farrell. We're going to talk about Owen Farrell and what he's been up to. We're going to talk a little bit about Eddie Jones and the very amusing press conference that he gave today. If anybody missed it, go and check it out. It is on the channel in his full on his cowboy hat and having a go at the media as he always does. Lots of entertainment is Eddie Jones. So we've got a lot to talk about in the next hour as we sort of bring you all the various news from around the world. But Chris, let's start with the Bok lineup, shall we? I think that's probably a good. In fact, no, you know what? I actually want to talk about what's really going on. Let's talk about Owen Farrell. Let's start with the topical one. Let's start with the breaking news. So in case anybody has been living under a rock and you have missed it, Owen Farrell got yellow carded last week Saturday. It was then upgraded to a red via the new TMO bunker, which I think is a really cool little piece of innovation, actually. And on Tuesday, he then had a hearing. An independent judicial committee found him not guilty of it being a red card and rescinded the red card. But however, today, World Rugby have come out and said that they will be using their right to appeal the decision, and they're going to be instituting their own hearing and having a talk or having a look at exactly what they think on the incident itself. And obviously, World Rugby being the governing body, they'll have the kind of final say. Chris, before you sort of go about the nightmare of a week. I mean, Shane, as much as a lot of people won't feel too much sympathy, it's probably been quite a hectic week for Owen Farrell when you think he's waking up, think he's going to get banned, and he's not banned, and he might get banned, and now his World Cup might be in jeopardy, might not be in jeopardy. But over the weekend, when you saw the tackle, when you saw the incident, what was your first instinct?
First instinct, it was head contact, head contact, bad tackling body position. Exactly how I expected the rules of rugby going at the moment, how we've laid it out, how our processes are with the referees and the officials. I had absolutely no issue with anything that happened. I actually quite liked it. We've gone through the process, the process on the field where they go through the steps for mitigation. They've now gone a further step, brought in the bunker, and it all looked like no issues, He's done it again. He's a serial culprit of this. 5% of his tackles don't involve arms. So what more do you want? It's at least a 2-match ban for me. I say it could have gone down to 1. I probably could have lived with 1, but it should have at least been a 2 or 3, in my opinion. I don't know. Yeah, it was absolutely. I haven't been quite shocked in a long time to see that headline when they came out and said it had been rescinded. We've gone so far where these rules have impacted our game. It slowed it down. We've seen a different type of game. We're protecting the players. We've got hard at refs. We've bought into this that we're protecting our players, and now we've gone back. We've just gone back 5 years. Like, what is the point? So for me, it's not even Owen Farrell, who I just do not like as a rugby player. Sorry to say, I think he's completely overrated, and he can stay in the England team as far as I'm concerned because he does nothing for them. But in terms of rugby and our game and integrity and credibility, this is a shocking return of events. And World Rugby even if it doesn't even get the appeal gets withheld or whatever, they have to do this because of the outcry that's come out. But it just does not sit well. And we can use Moala as example because look what he's got and look what other players have got. I don't want to go into the conspiracy thing, the bias in. We discussed a tweet from Alkia earlier about this stuff, but I haven't enjoyed this week at all. I don't think it's good for our game at all. I know we want our players there, but there's no sense in this. So I'm at a loss, Steve. I don't know how you feel. I'm at a total, and I'm disgruntled.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I think, for me, as you said, we're trying to make the game safer. That's kind of the whole point, And you do get some people who are very quick to say, "Oh, the game's gone soft and stuff like that," which it's a pretty terrible way, I think, for me of looking at the game. But I think we've gone with the hard line and saying we've got to cut this out if we want this game to grow. We want this game to continue. We've got to cut these out. And he's talking about the bias stuff like that. Yes, I think I agree with you. I'm not going to go into the conspiracies about sort of tier 1 nations to tier 2 nations, stuff like that, and the different treatment. Everybody's saying if it's a South African player, he would have been banned for weeks, stuff like that. I don't want to get episodic about it, but you kind of sit there thinking, you're talking about one of the top teams in the world. You're talking about one of the top players in the world in terms of over 100 caps, been around the block and stuff like that. You've got to show that your commitment is the same across the board, So in many ways, you don't want to make an example out of him, but you've got to sit there and think, what we decide with regards to him is going to be precedent. To be perfectly honest, if you give a bad sanction or a slightly lighter sanction to a lesser known or tier 2 nation, for example, people won't be bringing it up as much as you sort of the precedent as much as you would for an England player. I think my biggest frustration is as you mentioned, is I watching the incident, I sat there going, and for all the referees do get a lot of flack and sometimes very rightfully, sometimes a little bit harsh. I watched the whole process and went, yeah, actually, that is actually quite it's been well handled. It's exactly what we want to see. We saw CMO say, listen, there's been a tackle, let's have a look. Within 2 minutes, the referee said, I'm happy, that's foul play, I'm going to yellow card him. And the game then carried on whilst the TMO bunker did his thing. And then they came out and said, no, actually, it's going to be upgraded to a red card. He went down the tunnel, it didn't interfere in the game, and I thought they handled it really well. And then they came out and said, well, they were basically wrong. And I don't think they were wrong. So I think that's my frustration, is we finally saw a really good example of how the officiating should happen in the process. And then the decision kind of just sort of flew in the face of it.
But also their reasons that Jamie George interfered. I mean, come on. Then we can make if they're setting the precedent, I mean, I mean, in the old days, this was for me almost like it was a bad tackle. It was almost a rugby incident. There's a penalty, maybe yellow, but just obviously where we're going, you can't base that mitigation on what everyone who said okay. Everyone who's gone back and watched it still can't see what this because even if it was this much, it's not. You need to be going down, a foot if you really want to mitigate it like that. And I don't know where rugby goes. They have to. I hope World Rugby.
But I think they have to say that, because I think if they don't get involved, then I think then we're in big trouble going into the World Cup. So I suppose, credit where credit due, it is good that World Rugby has stepped in and said, you had your process, but you guys have actually gotten it wrong, and we're gonna step in, and hopefully they then find it, reach sort of a more agreeable solution, as Chris does. You're back. Just popped in for a second, but I think what's been quite damning is the fact that a lot of the England fans are also going, yeah, we were also pretty surprised that he got away with it. I think a lot of England fans are going, shit, we also actually don't agree with that.
And it's also his Cyril.
Yeah, this would be his fourth ban. It would be his fourth ban for high tackle. He's had 3 different bans of 10 weeks in total being banned in this.
So even on that basis, just because it's almost happened again, in a way, he needs to be bloody put on the naughty corner again, on the naughty bench again, because he just. Well, this is why I mean I know he is a good. Okay, sure, he's a good player, but this is. If we hear about him, he's influenced, but I think he's toxic. I don't think he's. Yeah, but that's just me. I'm not in the squad. But anyway, it is what it is. Hopefully, let's see what happens.
Yeah, well, he hasn't been named in the side, so that did come out about an hour ago, and he hasn't been named. And in theory, I think, well, I suppose it's one of those situations where you kind of, I think in theory, you can name him. So he said that, and this is actually a quote from Borthwick. He said, in light of the fact that so much of Owen's training and match preparation time this week has been significantly affected and interrupted by the disciplinary process, I have not selected him in the matchday 23. Owen will travel to Ireland with our full support. Owen understands the situation, but is of course disappointed, as am I, that he's missing out such a special game they would otherwise have played in. So I think it sounds like he basically probably wasn't lying to play, and I reckon after the fact that World Rugby came out and said they're going to get involved, then they probably decided not to select him, to be honest. It does mean that George Ford starts at 10, who I think is their best 10. So,
well, you know what, you know my thoughts on that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm not. But let's keep that secret to ourselves, Stevie.
Yeah, no, as I said, I do think. I think when George Ford plays and he plays well, he's
absolutely. He's when the last 7 years, whenever I've seen him play or start, England are he's a little bit smarter than Mr.
Yeah. Look, my unpopular opinion is I do think that if it's not George Ford, I would pick Farrell over Marcus Smith every day, because I think Marcus Smith's a great talent, but he's not there yet.
Yeah, I was a Marcus Smith fanboy 100% a year ago, and I was Marcus Smith should play, but where England are and what they do, you can see he's frantic and uncomfortable, and it was always probably going to be that way. England they've never had a fly off like this. So what do they do with him? And then you still got Owen and Farrell around. So I agree. I don't think the 10-12 works with them. I would, going into this World Cup, I have changed my tune and said I would pick Farrell over Smith, but I would always pick Ford over Farrell every day of the week.
Yeah, and I think even that, I think Farrell at 12 works with Ford at times, but it just didn't work with Smith at all. I think the Ford Farrell axis can work out quite. I mean, it got him to a semi-final, so we know it. I mean, a final, so we know it does work. But I think the Smith Farrell axis just didn't really work.
And even when I have two examples, and I said, it's like, show me a clip of a match where Owen Farrell actually took a game by the horns and drove England over the line. Like, it was actually did something. I know might not be eye-catching, but I'm still waiting to see this amazingness of this guy who, like, I don't see it. I don't see him taking games by the horn and driving England forward. And then George Ford, who was underbought with Leicester. I mean, he drove Leicester to that final. He got injured in that final. I just don't know what that poor guy has to do to be justified as their number 10. But it's also personal opinion, yeah, right? I mean,
no, 100%. The one thing, I mean, I know this year he struggled, but the one thing I've always said with Owen Farrell is he's one of the best goal kickers in the world when he's on song. That's always been quite a big thing. But I mean, this year I think during the Six Nations, at one stage he was operating at less than 50%. So maybe even that itself has actually gone. So. But interesting times for England and for Owen Farrell. So we have got no idea when the hearing will actually take place. That has not been confirmed. So it will not be before this weekend. So and this is for me the interesting thing. When I did the video this afternoon, people are now saying that they reckon that you're looking at a mid to high range sanction here, given the fact that you can't go to tackle school, so there's no mitigation with regards to moving the sanction down. So if you get a mid range sanction or high range sanction, and start looking at 6 weeks. That will only kick in next week. So he's actually going to miss a game this weekend that he would have served part of his ban. And if he gets 6 weeks, it means that not only would he miss the entire group stage in the World Cup, he'd also miss the quarterfinal. So, I mean, that base takes him out of the World Cup.
Yeah.
I mean, because surely you can't go through the entire World Cup, get to semi-final, and then be like, right, Owen, off you go.
I mean, I don't look on the other side of the draw. I mean, England might be lucky to find themselves in a World Cup semi-final, but I don't know. Maybe it's a blessing if he just gets off and stuff. This is my opinion. I just think England will just do better without him. So I actually, I'm in two minds here. I'm in two minds. Whether he gets the ban he deserves, which he should, out of principle, but on a rugby basis, I would prefer him out of that England team because I think George Ford would fire with Arlie Lawrence and Marchant. He'll get that backline going because that backline's got so much, and I don't understand. That team should never be performing the way they are, and it needs something to spark them. And I think George Ford can get them going. That's again, first opinion, guys. Everyone out there, it's just my opinion.
Yeah, it was a decent size pick this weekend. Our official preview will be out tomorrow. Courtney Laws is back to captain. I think that he is incredibly important.
Yeah, I love Courtney Laws, unsung hero.
Yeah, I think he's one of, if not probably the most important player for me going into the World Cup. I think if he plays well, he's one of those few players in the world. It doesn't matter what team he plays, he gets over the advantage line. He'll always front up, and he's so consistent.
Is he? He's not captain. He's the captain of England. I should know.
So Owen Farrell was captain for the World Cup, but this weekend it is Courtney
Laws. I believe if Courtney Laws is on his game, fired up, captain there at number 6, that England team could start getting on a little roll.
Yeah. And then George Ford is actually co-vice captain with Ellis Genge. So, but again, a very experienced English side this weekend. Ben Young is back to the starting lineup, but the most experienced English player anyway. But yeah, so we'll talk about more about England in my preview tomorrow and stuff. Let's move on to speaking of teams and stuff for the weekend. The Springboks are back, and it's a pretty strong side that we've named against Wales, and we're gonna have a look at it now. And we'll also have a look at the Wales side, which has had a late change. But Chris, when you had a look at this side, obviously the big news is Siya Kolisi is back in the mix. A couple of other returns, the likes of Jaden Hendrickson and Oxen Chair. Still with a 6-2 split, for example. Caden Moody being involved. What was your initial reaction looking at the squad?
Yeah, well, obviously Kolisi's name there, obviously. Well, he's going to be playing, and I'm holding my toes and fingers and thumbs because I know it's a miracle, but we'll see. And I think expected. I mean, starting with probably our first choice front row. That's our premium front row, right? And I know you guys have been calling for Jaden Hendricks. Could probably be the starting. Could have been, if he had a run at it, could be the starting scrum half. So good to see him back, and obviously Grant Williams back as well, which is nice. And in the back line, I mean, Varney's got to play all the way through now with Willems playing that supporting role. So I think that's close. How
do we get stronger? How do we get stronger? I think that's probably where we're getting at. Obviously, Etzebeth comes in at 4 for Jean Klein, but
what do you mean? How do we get stronger?
As a 23, if we play the World Cup final tomorrow, who comes in? How does this team change? Do you think?
Etzebeth.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, that's probably going to start, right? I think that's our back line. I think that's our first choice back line.
Do you? No, so that for me is obviously. I mean, because I actually did yesterday. The title of my show is "Has Canan Moodie made himself a starter?"
I was getting there.
Yeah.
I was about to get to the point where I was going to say to Moodie would be my starting.
Is it? So are you not fully convinced?
Yeah, I think Moody's an amazing player. I think he's a big mercurial talent. I think he could be one of our greatest players ever by the end of his career if he stays.
Well, I mean, look, Jake White said he reckons he could be a test centurion, and I think that's how people.
No, I don't. Barring possibly a young Quirson, young Franz Steyn, I don't think we've ever seen a talent with maybe Colby's got, but there's a different type of. Moody's got something else going there.
But he just looked for me. He just looks so comfortable at this level.
Yeah,
it looks like he's been playing. He looks like he's played 50 tests.
Correct. Yeah, I feel like he's the closest that we've got to like maybe Cullen was and what Will Jordan is. I'm not saying he's at that level, but like for us to have a player of that caliber and that skill, I think he gets quite close to that.
Now, and we'll talk a little bit about the positioning, but I mean, do we think that wing is probably our most stock position at the moment? When you think that Canan Moody's making himself a starter here. We're not talking about Makazole Mapimpi, who's got an unreal try scoring record, and we're not even talking about Kurtley Arendse, who's at the moment scored more than a try per match.
Well, the thing is, we've had Jesse Creel going at 13 with Arm for the last couple of years, right? So Arm's out, and you feel you're so obliged and obligated to slot Creel at 13. I think Moody at 13 could even be a sensation.
So that's what the comments are asking. Let's talk about that. I'd be interested to see what will happen when he goes back to the Bulls, because I think that the Bulls will play him at 13, because if you look at that Bulls squad, they've added Henry Immelman, who's a 15. They've added Willie LaRue, who's a 15. They've brought in Jakob van der Walt. They brought in another fly half. So they've got Chris Smith, Jakob van der Walt, and Johan Goosen. They often play Goosen at 15 to be able to make space for Chris Smith and now probably Jakob van der Walt. And so if Goosen's at 15, you've also got Henry Immelman as well as Willie LaRue at options at 15. Kurtley Arendse can play at 15. You've got Sravino Yarkis, for example, on the option on the wing. So, but for me, if you look at their centers, not as stacked. So I think we're going to see Canan Moodie at outside center for the Bulls. Do you think that's where you'll settle?
I think he would. I think he's a smart player. Yeah, I think he's got all the skills, all the makeup to be a great 13. Yeah, I think if he has a solid inside center. Then I'm hoping that he settles at 13. I think he'll do great. But you could put him anywhere at the back three, and he's gonna make an impact on the game, right?
Yeah, I just hope that we kind of don't do almost that France Day thing where we sort of moved him around so much that at one stage didn't quite know where he was playing. Which some people were worrying about Damien Willems, which I think is a valid concern. But I think Willems has shown that he's so talented that his versatility is his biggest talent almost.
But for Moody, it's like also we need to provincial, but every time he plays, he stands out. He's one of those players that are standing out. He's doing something good, productive. He looks like completely the part. He looks ready to go. He looks like he's taking a duck towards international rugby. So why would you leave him out? I do. I also get Kurtley Arendse is a game breaker as well. I'm going to admit. I mean, I love Mapimps. I do, but I think Arendse has to be in the 23 as well somehow.
Well, this is the problem, isn't it? Because now, for example, you just don't leave out Cheslin Colby. We're talking about one of the best players in the world.
If Moody wasn't a factor, because Moody kind of wasn't, he's been there, we blooded him in. But now it's almost like we can't leave those three out.
And all of a sudden, we're almost like moving Cheslin Colby to see if he can play at 11 to make space for Moody.
And the way we play with Willie, we can't leave Willie out of this structure and coaching structure. So we can't really shift him either. So, but look, good problem to have. Look, either way, either way, whoever goes, I'll be happy. It's not like I'm going to be like, oh no, So, and if someone breaks down, we've got a really good backup.
Yeah, so I think that's probably the nice thing is that whilst there are some big question marks over like 13, where we've only got Jesse Krill, who's an out and out 13, and fly half where everybody's saying, well, if Marty goes down, all of a sudden you've got Damien. I think outside back is one position where we're not worried. I mean, we could get 2 genuine injuries and we could still be starting a Kirkley Arendse and a Kane Moody, or a Mapimpi, Kirkley Arendse, Willie Leroux, or a Kirkley Arendse, Kane Moody, Damien Willemse, and you sit there going, yeah, I'd actually be quite comfortable with any of the sort of the 6 outside backs we've got. I would be pretty comfortable with any of them starting. But let's talk a little bit about Marty Liebach, because as much as everybody keeps continuing with this whole agenda that Andre Pollard is going to come back and play Scotland and win us the World Cup, the Boks keep saying that he's not part of the plan. That is not the plan, and we've got to back Marty Liebach. I mean, how much pressure do you think he's going to be on in the next couple of games, or do you think all of a sudden there's almost a certain amount of, I'm actually not playing necessarily for my place here. I'm actually now this is me playing for the World Cup. I now know I actually will probably be playing. I need to actually now settle in. And do you think that sort of alleviates a bit of the pressure and allows him to maybe sort of play his more natural game, or do you think it adds more pressure on the fact that it's like, well, hell, all of a sudden I'm the number one choice. If I play badly, the entire team's got a problem.
Yeah, it's very interesting because we've basically taken out how we've played Springboks. Talk about how they've played to win World Cups, which is that solid Pollard like number 10 controlled game, almost 10-man rugby. We've taken that out the equation. You can see when the Boks play with Liebach on or Pollard on, it's a different game. And obviously part of me has been feeling, well, we're going in with the same medicine. We know the medicine, we know the drill. We're going in with the same plan of attack. And that was very much a Faf Pollard axis, right?
Yeah.
And that's, I mean, even Faf could not even be there. So it's a different Boks team, and a Boks team that I actually enjoy watching. I enjoy watching them play, and they're going to have to go to the World Cup and play. So I'm at loss. I'm not sure how this Boks team actually goes now, because also we haven't seen a consistent Boks side for the last 5-6 tests as well. So it's going to be very interesting. And with regards to Marnie, well, no one gave him a hope in hell 3 years ago when he came to the Stormers, and he led the Stormers to a win and 2 finals, and he looked pretty good in big games. Yes, he does miss the odd kick, don't get me wrong, but the way he plays, he could put Willemse and Arendse away for a try in the last 10 minutes and make up those points in that way. It looks like that's how we're going to have to accumulate our points. It's going to have to be with more going for attacking rugby. So I'm okay with Liebach. I think he might embrace it. I think he did with the Stormers. I think he'll take it by the horns. Again, if he goes down, I'm not so convinced about Willemse at 10 to go through the World Cup. But it's 3 games. But yeah, it's gonna be very interesting. I'm really, really curious to see how the Boks play, because are we gonna play to Liebach's strength or the way he plays and has played, or are we gonna coach him into a Pollard style? And it probably might backfire.
Yeah, and for me, I think that the interesting thing is everybody talks about Faf de Klerk as this, very boring box kicking scrum half. But if you're a Lions fan, you'll know that is not how when he arrived in the scene and when he was playing at the Lions, it's not how he naturally played his game. It's something that was very much sort of coached into him when he was at sort of the box, because of the box system and stuff like that. So what'll be interesting, the fact that we've now included Grant Williams, for example, who has that sort of that edge and stuff. It'll be interesting to see how even a Jaden Hendricks as well, how him and Faf de Klerk now play, whether they're going to play quite similarly, whether they're sort of going to take on a bigger role in terms of kicking off 10, kicking off 9, playing off 9, or whether they'll also get a little bit more license to say, no, by all means, let's pick up the ruck speed, let's get the ball going, get clean ball to Monty and let him cook, basically, as people would say. So, and on that Jaden Hendricks thing, I mean, we haven't seen him in a while. As I said, last year, a lot of things were pointing to him all of a sudden, climbing up the ranks. I mean, he started against the All Blacks. Do you think that he's genuinely going to be in the mix coming the World Cup, or do you think that they've taken him as an option, but maybe without the game time might not necessarily be making it that high? Removing the Kobus Reinach agenda here as well.
I just still think the way these guys, Boks coaches, have gone through the years, and the guys like Reinach and Krill have popped up in almost all these squads they can. I still think Reinach is pretty much the second choice scrum half, in my opinion. It will be between Williams and Hendrickse, who backs him up, should that be the case, if Faf went down. And I
What's
think
interesting though is that Reinach has never come off the bench. It's like if Faf's playing, he'll start, for example, and if he's not starting, then often Reinach starts and then somebody else comes off the bench.
So that's why I think they wanted to see Haven't seen so much more of these two guys before this point in time. So I don't know if it's going to be Faf. Faf is going to certainly be a starter, and then it's going to just be a matter of who's going to back him up between him and Hendrickse. Yeah, they might go for Williams for the more versatility of Williams. But Hendrickse, I just wish Hendrickse had more game time. Yeah. Maybe he gets it this week and next week, or let's see what they do with him.
And then the big sort of question mark is, well, I wouldn't say question mark. Siya Kolisi obviously hasn't played since I think about February when he got that injury. When he first got injured, people were doubting his World Cup, and you could see how hard he worked to get back. He has been basically in full training for, it looks like, about 2 or 3 weeks. He even took part in the warm up at Ellis Park about 3 weeks ago now, actually it was, and was running around and running the drills and stuff like that. He comes into the side. He is a player who, in the past, has needed game time to get going. He's not necessarily a player that's always managed to slot back in and be at his best. But in the last 2 to 3 years, probably safe to say he's been playing the best rugby we've ever seen him play. I suppose he's a player, and take away his leadership. I think we all know that we have to have him for his leadership. We all know that the Boxer player are a better team when he's in it from a leadership point of view, and he really does help them get him up. But just from a playing perspective, I mean, he's somebody who I think could have been in the World Player of the Year charts in the last couple of years, and won Bok Player of the Year, I think 2021, and was second to Etzebeth last year. From a playing perspective, though, how important is it that we get him right and he gets right before the World Cup?
Yeah, I don't know how. Obviously important, because he means that much to our team and is of value. I mean, no matter what, he needs to be around. I must admit, I've been trying this whole week to understand exactly how they got his knee to where it is.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if you've read it or because I don't. I'm thinking of other guys who are rushed in with knee injuries. They never come back nearly as strong.
I think the biggest thing there's a little bit of confusion exactly what actually happened. It would be really nice to have had a bit of an update on exactly what he actually had done in the end.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I'm very worried. I don't know if he makes it through the first half. It's just a gut feeling. I am worried he's going to break down again. I'm going to be very honest. I'm really worried about it.
I think that's the worry. It's he's coming back. I don't think anyone coming back from a knee injury, for example, if you're coming back from a shoulder injury, or you're coming back from something like that, you're kind of sitting there going, it's a bit not easier, but you kind of sit there saying, those are often like Oxen Chair, for example. It was a pectoral injury because he tore it in the gym. He didn't warm up properly. He said he was rushing, so that's like a bit of a freak injury. It's not something that wasn't like a rugby collision, but a knee is such a volatile thing.
The thing is, in the form he was on, if he comes straight back into that form, amazing, brilliant. The word miracle has been used, right?
Yeah.
For me, it'll be a miracle.
Yeah. So we know it. We're a land of miracles. So let's hopefully have another one. But yeah, I think he's probably the one that everyone's going to watch out the most for. I said, I think it's all going to be sitting there saying, is he fit? Is he ready? And I think also the coaching staff need to be. And they will, I think, if he's completely gassed after 40 minutes or even 35 minutes, take him off.
But this training, has he been doing full contact? Do we know, has he been doing full contact?
Yeah, I think he's been training I think since the New Zealand game, I think he's basically been in full training. So with full contact and the works and stuff. So hopefully, in theory, he's had 3 or 4 weeks.
I think the boys have been attacking his knees. Have we let him go lightly?
Well, it's difficult. I mean, because you don't want
if I was a player, I don't know if I'll be charging.
No, I was about to say you don't be that guy that goes like, oh well, unfortunately, Siya Kolisi has done his knee again because Jean-Claude decided to dive bomb into his knee, and everyone's like, well, thanks, Jean. Back to Ireland you go, dude.
Yeah, that's the worry.
So I suppose
Let's see.
Look, the nice thing we know that as a player, he's not gonna, he will go full tilt this weekend. So, if we in terms of getting any information on his knee, we'll know pretty quickly where it's at.
I don't know, is it the knee? I know it's certainly the ankle, but when some of these things go and then you rush it in, that breaks something else. The offset another part of the body. So the other worry is actually him injuring himself somewhere else.
I think with knees,
That's
a lot of the time, the often is worried is the other knee. Is that
yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying.
you're so
That's
worried
what I'm
about
saying.
this knee that you can't sometimes do the other knee.
Yeah,
That's often
exactly.
happened to some people. But no, touch wood, he's going to get through the game fine. And
Mhm.
we're going to be talking about Captain Fantastic being back. Now, before we go to the betting segment and talk a little bit about the other game, we'll talk a little bit about the Welsh side, which has changed if you have not seen. And I'm a bit frustrated about the change because I quite like the two players who are playing. So that is the team for this weekend. The late changes are Kai Evans come into the starting lineup on debut at 15, and Sam Costello has come in at 10 because Liam Williams and Dan Bigger have both been ruled out with, precautionary been taken out of the team with injuries. So we look at the side. Chris, very inexperienced props from an international perspective. I think both have 2 caps to their name.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's. I mean, not the most experienced team. I mean, you've got the likes of Alex Cuthbert coming back, who's going to be a handful for Ches and Colby. So I look at this team and think scrum wise we should be decimated in. There should be no excuse. You know, they're both good props, but you're now playing against the Bok front row. They're our best front row. That should be an avenue we should target. The thing that probably scares me the most looking at this team is that loose trio.
Yeah, that looks. Yeah, if you look at this team and you watch no Welsh rugby, yeah, that's a very decent loose chair, for sure. Like I said, the rest of the team, but feels a bit light, but absolutely, that's where it's strong for them there.
And I think what's going to be interesting is that, and it'll be interesting now, given the fact that Dan Bigger's not playing and Liam Williams is not playing, is if you look at the height of this backline, it's a tall backline. You know, you look at Johnny Williams, and he's a tall player. Mason Gray is a tall player. Rio Dyer is the shortest, probably the shortest person in the back line. He stands about 186. Alex Cuthbert's a big wing. You know, so we have no doubt that high ball and that up and under is going to definitely be a big factor this weekend.
Yeah, I must say, I mean, I actually enjoy the Welsh national side. I do like Afghan, but I don't do Welsh rugby a bit of service, or do them a bit of a disservice because I don't watch a lot of Ospreys and Cardiff games. So these names, I know these names, but I don't watch a lot of them provincially. So, but interesting to see how they go.
Yeah, well, I think the big thing is I think a lot of casual fans as well. Not calling you a casual fan, but a lot of people that
well,
have been watching.
I'm a casual Welsh provincial
yeah,
fan.
but I think also, I mean, you've got Warren Gatton who's still really trying to find information on his players. I mean, you look at the side, for example, and if you don't watch domestic rugby, I'm trying to bring out the press release here. I mean, you know, Johnny Williams. I mean, your centre pairing got 8 caps between them. You know, Mason Grady is his 4th game. Johnny Williams is his 6th game. Rio Dyer has played less than 10 games. Sam Costello has played 3 caps. You know, there's only one person in the backline who's played more than 20 caps, and that's Alex Cuthbert. Kieran Hardy's the only other player in the backline who's played more than 10 caps. So it's a very young, very experienced backline. Well, it's a very experienced team actually.
Yeah, I mean the Welsh team, like up until recently, they were doing really well. And it's not the names that are in this team. Like, and it'll be interesting to see how they go in the Welsh jersey. But like, they're often up their game for us, and even in Wales, like even if it's a team that's we don't recognize these guys as a Welsh formation, I still think they're going to give us one hell of a game.
They're always a bit of a bogey team for us, not in terms of they beat us particularly often, but they're never an easy side for us to beat. They always seem to have a number and make competitive.
Yeah. But then there are times when I look at games like now, and you look at the matchups, you're thinking to yourself, this has to be a comfortable book win. But I'm not going to stick my neck out and say that.
Yeah.
Because it's never we'd hardly ever throw. We haven't had a big win again. Barring it was 16 points in Newlands in the last game. I mean that's probably that's one of the biggest wins we've had over them for a very long time. Even though we do have the rub of the green, but it's always within a score or within 7 points. So
and
I don't see any difference.
It's a whole different kettle of fish when you're playing over there in the Millennium.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, these barring the French and the Scots giving us some decent games. I don't look into these friendlies. They are definitely down 7% in intensity, and what the coaches definitely go and ask the players to do something a little bit different. You can see that it's not the same type of test matches, and players are protecting themselves for sure. And especially some guys are going down. They will. So it's going to be interesting. Watch it, of course.
Yeah, no, 100%. And as everyone know, we will be obviously live for the Watchalong, so you can come and join us over there. So before we talk a little bit about the games this weekend because there are a couple of other nice games. Let's talk about this. So this is your betting segment brought to you by Boyle Sports. And if you are trying to get into your betting, first of all, you're going to get yourself a Boyle Sports account. I'm going to put a link in the chat right now. And then what we suggest doing is going on X, the X Twitter, now known as X, and following Chris at the Crow Tips. And then Chris, the season record's looking pretty good. And how are we going to better that this weekend?
Yeah, looking very healthy. We had a nice week too. I think it was 2 weeks ago because we missed last week, but we have a 100% record. We had the double coming in. Tasman won and Oz plus 24 cruised home. As we short said on the show, thought Oz were going to give them a close game, and they did. Didn't win it, but probably as expected. And I had the lean of Oz over 9.5 points at half time, Oz points, and they smashed that in 12 minutes. So that was one I was actually thinking of adding as a proper bet. I should have, because I was deep down pretty confident about it, so I should have actually punted it as an official. But anyway, if you did put it towards your bets that you created, then great. Yeah, so the season record, we had 13-9 and a very nice 15.9 units up and a very, very healthy 62% return on investment. As I said, Stevie, I'm really, really happy with that. If we were still floating around 20-25%, that's still pretty decent if you look at people that charge tips around the world. So that's where they would be. So we're doing pretty well, yeah. So we're going to continue it. We've got some units up, so we'll use some this weekend. I'm taking a little bit of a different approach this weekend, Stevie, because points. I like points. As you noticed, I've bet a lot on points, and the points markets haven't been out for these games, which is fine. I do like NPC. I will be betting some NPC games in the future. But for now, we've got the Pro. So the Pro D2 starts tonight. It's the French second division, which is a lovely betting competition. Everyone knows. I think it's a little secret gem. Not secret gem, but I think a lot of punters. We don't punt it publicly, but I think we all know that it's quite a nice tournament to punt on, because obviously bookies aren't as familiar with it, and there's quite solid form lines that come out of that competition. So it starts tonight. So I'm going to start tonight. It's Biarritz versus Colomiers, and I'm going for second half highest scoring. I love the half scoring market. Yeah. I know a lot of guys don't, but I'm going to target it this weekend, because why I say this, because generally Pro D games, the first halves are very tight and low scoring. So I'm not going to buck a trend of the last 2 years, which I like. So I think they're going to go in and have a very, very tight first half. And there'll be a try or two more in the second half, probably. So we'll go for the second half high score in that game tonight, 1.5 units. And we'll do the same for the Wales-South African game. Now, I actually maybe wanted to have changed this, because it looks like our pack should monster the Welsh pack, and that could happen in the first half. Mm-hmm. But I'm going on the trend of Wales-South African games. They often are tighter games, and if in the last 4 out of the last 6 games, the second halves it's normally tight, first halves more points in the second. That's just how our games with them go. As you said, it just seems quite a familiar pattern with South Africa versus Wales. So I'm going to say it, if anyone listens to this, so we're going to stay with the 1.5 units. I might have dropped it because I am a little bit worried that we do monster a few rolling moors in the first half. But we'll keep 1.5 units. We'll keep this trend, and I'm still confident that it will still maybe open up in the second half. So we'll go another 1.5 units to 199 there. So take a little bit of a different approach just with what's available with the games today. So yeah, if they both come in, we'll have another very, very healthy week, or at least we won't lose. We'll be at the same position next week.
Right, so 3 units up on this weekend, eh? So
yeah, so that's it. We got two plus 2.65 last week, and we're going to go up another 3 this weekend. Let's do it.
All right, cool. So
let's
then, if everyone's new to that, so your unit is obviously whatever you decide to generally bet. So, for example, mine is 10 rand. Times a tough voucher, and still if that return of investment sits there for another month or two, Chris, you might even convince me to start upping the units. But yes, if you are new, that is the concept of the units. So
well, we have I suppose we have news for people. We'll grow this in other ways from the next couple of weeks. This is tonight's show, the rugby show, but we'll get more risky maybe.
Yeah, there we go. So on that note, please do keep an eye out on the channel for a cool announcement that will involve Chris and seeing a lot more of his friendly face. And so keep an eye out for that announcement, which will hopefully be very, very soon. But yeah, so that's all on Boyle Sports, by the way. If you're wondering where those markets are from, as I said, Boyle Sports are our official betting partners, so those are where the odds are. And if you have any questions, stuff like that, put them in the comments, and we will endeavor to try and answer them, or else we'll bring them up next week in the fan forum. And right. So, Chris, we've got 50 minutes left. Let's talk a little bit about the other games this weekend. We have got England versus Ireland and France versus Fiji. And I want to sort of obviously focus on the England versus Ireland because probably the better of the games. And I think very interesting because Ireland are coming back from about a 2-week, I think, break. They've gone pretty strong as well, pretty much full strength. England also very strong, but England playing. Let's find a way nice way to say it. I'm not quite firing all cylinders just yet. Surely this is a pretty one-way traffic game. It's in Ireland. It's at the Aviva, number 1 team in the world versus an underperforming England side. What chance do England have?
Not a lot, but like I said, and I'm being honest. This is these friendlies. I'm looking at completely different to like the finale, the Grand Slam finale game, But like I said, my mind still boggles, and even under Andy Jones, like England have to be much better than they are, surely. Interesting comments that you said. I do read. I like to read and make my opinion on what people say during the week. And I think you said Borthwick said a big game in Ireland, and Farrell's missing a massive game.
Massive occasion, yes.
So friendly against Ireland is a massive occasion? Okay. It probably is because it is England versus Ireland. So that tells me that I think they got some Six Nations revenge on their mind to England. So I think it's going to be.
Maybe they're at the situation like, listen, guys, we're not going to win a World Cup, but if we can beat Ireland in the Aviva before, then at least that's something, boys.
Well, I'm gonna say that there is that factor. I think I know rugby players. I think England will want to avenge that game. I do think players do have that mentality, and I'm going to say that England are going to be better without Farrell, and I think they're going to give Ireland a good game.
Well,
I think Ireland are going to win. Ireland are going to win, but it's going to be a tight game. It's not going to be an Ireland runaway.
I lied. He didn't say big. He said such a special game that he would
special.
Okay,
special.
It's a special game. I'm not sure what's special about it because it's not like anyone's reaching like a big milestone. I mean, Owen Farrell has hit 100 tests a while ago, and it's been 100 tests a while ago. So it's not like he.
But England Wales games are special in a way as well, and I've been completely disappointed and flattered to receiving those. So what am I going to get? I'm going to get excited for England Ireland, and I'm going to see another like 19-8 Ireland win.
I suppose. For example, next week, Box versus New Zealand at Twickenham, and you will be there. So I suppose you tell me. But I wouldn't call it a special game. I mean, it's a cool game. It's the biggest rivalry in rugby, but a World Cup warm-up game in a neutral ground.
No, it's going to be a nice occasion, but it's not going to be. I ain't licking my lips like when I used to go watch the All Blacks play Springboks at Newlands in a Tri-Nations game.
And it's not quite like the third. Your second. The big, like Ellis Park, for example, like a New Zealand Bok game at Ellis Park or in Eden Park, like those are the games. Test matches don't get bigger than those type of games.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a nice. I think it's almost sold out, so it's going to be a very nice crowd. I think it'll be. I think it's going to be a great day. I think it's going to be a great. It's going to be a great occasion. I think it's going to be a good match. It's not. We're not going to. Mind you, come on, when the Springboks played all, but I don't think anyone leaves anything behind. So maybe we misinterpreted this. Maybe these guys are not going to help themselves and see the old enemy in front of them and go, "Bugger this! I'm going for it. I'm not losing to these oaks."
Yeah, no, I'll be interested to see the type of teams that get put out. I think some people suggest that Ian Foster is set to potentially rotate. I think other people are saying that they reckon apparently Rasmus has been sort of implying that they're going to try and use that All Black game to kind of announce that that we're candidates and go and beat them and say going into the World Cup saying actually we're here to play. So I'll be interested to see the type of teams and the attitude that they've got. I mean, obviously they're not going to be sitting there telling their players, oh, it's actually not a big occasion, but it is 2 weeks before the World Cup, so there is that certain amount of go out and get a big result that you also can't afford to get into because then you don't.
I don't know who decided to have this as a final warm-up fixture. I'm not saying it's a sacred fixture, but it just doesn't feel right, does it? It
It kind of feels a bit
doesn't feel like
commercial. It's the, I
it
think it's
doesn't
the,
it
and
doesn't feel it doesn't feel like it does it any justice. But
sorry, Chris, are you
it,
trying to imply? I just want to get this right. Are you trying to imply that the Qatar, what's it called? The Qatar Invitational Cup could be slightly commercialized and not that that not that serious.
okay, now exactly why they found these two teams. Okay, well that makes perfect sense. All aboard the gravy train. Let's go.
Yeah, well,
Let's go.
hey, listen, go enjoy your. Hopefully, it's free. Hopefully, you can enjoy it. Hopefully, you're out there having the nice food and getting involved
got
in
my
the.
got my tripod.
There we go. I see.
Yeah.
Soon to be there we go. Soon to be award-winning journalist Chris off
Up
to
and
watch the
coming.
Qatar
Good.
Cup at Twickenham.
Can't wait. I know. I can't wait to go. I can't wait to being in the experience that you guys think are going to give me the opportunity to be in. So I can't wait for next Friday. Really can't.
Yeah, so and if you're watching, set your bloody alarms because it's next week Friday. It's 8:30 next week Friday. So don't sit there. You don't go out on the jaw and then all of a sudden you're on the TV like, oh, is that last week's game? And be like, no, you're busy missing the Bok test. So it is on a Friday night, which is a bit of a strange one. I don't think I've ever watched Bok rugby on a Friday night.
Yeah, geez, weekend. When last did we play? I think we played Georgia maybe on a Friday night.
Yes, that's actually a very good shot. It was the Friday night before there was a British and Irish Lions game on the Saturday.
Yeah, that's the last only time I can remember that we played on a South Africa played on a Friday. Hey.
Yeah, and then Georgia all got COVID and got sent home.
Oh, jeez.
Good times. Little throwback there. And then the last game, France versus Fiji. France are Intermac-less for the World Cup. They're still bye-less for the next 5 to 6 weeks, potentially. If I were to pick if I were to pick like 5 players who I thought you don't want to get injured, those 2 would be within my 5.
Correct. I was having a WhatsApp chat with my mates on Friday, and I said I named Tomac. I think I made the point to Mac, the point of Leon. Sorry, the flank. I didn't say Bile, but I said what if one of these 3 were going to go down? One of them they're going to. It's never like I just had this feeling, and I hope I didn't curse him, but. Yeah,
no Intermac for the World Cup. I mean, just how big is that for France?
And huge. I love it. So as you know, I've been punting France to win this World Cup for 2.5 years, 3 years, and Intermac was a big part of that.
Yeah,
I am now concerned because of that the Pont Intermac dynamic. They can break.
And
like I say,
for me, the Intermac comes Ramos as well. Those 3.
Yes, yeah. Intermac can do stuff. Like I said, like if it gets tense in a Rugby World Cup, because they will get tense, surely, France at some point. And if it is 12-9 with 15 minutes to go, it's in an Intermac ridiculous no-look pass inside his 22 or dummy that breaks away, that puts Ramos or someone under the posts. They go up 15-12 and they close it out, So, yeah, I don't know. It's going to be interesting now. It's open. It was an open World Cup. It's just got even more open.
Yeah, and interesting how and again, all of a sudden, if we get to see Owen Farrell, for example, and this is where the warm games gets so interesting. And where do you sort of sit with the whole warm game? Because some people are saying, oh, it's ludicrous that we're playing these warm games. They're just waiting for injuries. But I mean, it's a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation because you have to play rugby going into the World Cup.
No, what do I think? I think they have to be played.
Yeah.
And they have to be played. It's weird that it has to be an internationals. It's almost like could you put a club side there, a top club side, and they play them instead? But what does it matter, right? They're still going out there, putting their bodies out there. You can't not be playing rugby 6 weeks out, right? You gotta be playing.
Yeah, and so they will have a 2-week break. So, for example, the Boks are going to go over to Corsica for a little training camp and do a bit of sweating.
Sounds lovely.
But I mean, France versus Fiji. Fiji are a bit of a everybody's very excited about the island teams this year. Your Tonga, Samoa, Fiji, because of the whole eligibility rules and a lot of other players coming in. Yeah, Fiji for me are always a team that have always threatened to be good. And I mean, look, they're currently actually ranked higher than Wales. So they're currently ranked 9th in the world. Wales actually ranked 10th. Do you think this is the year we're going to see a Fiji pitch up and really start to sit at the table maybe?
But I'll be honest. We might see another little bit improvement from these island teams, but we're going to see them maybe fade at 70 minutes instead of 60 minutes. I just don't believe they have the backbone and the fitness levels and the discipline to go through an 80-minute hard international match. We got the players, but it's still for me the mentality. I know it's harsh. They might compete a little bit longer this time around, but I don't see them causing upsets.
And long term, I mean, I said the eligibility rules have almost created like a bit of an immediate fix. Obviously, long term, they could still sort of use it to advantage, but also things like the draw and having a domestic side which got a lot of international players playing together. We saw how the Jaguares really sort of helped boost the Argentina for a bit. So do you think long term now, maybe this is probably too soon, but long term, do you think this is going to be the reckoning for some of these nations?
Yes, I hope. Yes, like I said, improvements. I'm looking for improvement. I think we should see improvement. Yes, that's that law to get the players back. I think being the Super Rugby is certainly going to get them on the upward trend. I think I don't know. Maybe we have to get a Six Nations Southern Hemisphere Six Nations. Get them playing Rugby Championship. Get Samoa and Fiji or to get them playing us. Get us playing hard test matches every year. Because I don't think I just don't think they play that high end level rugby enough to go to World Cup and go through.
Yeah, and the biggest problem is that whole new World Rugby schedule is literally taking them away from the option, and again, as you said, you can't play against other tier 2 nations and then come up against France and Ireland, the Springboks and All Blacks and expect to ever compete.
But then again, we've let Italy do this for 21 years, and where are they? So
watch my juniors. Those Italy had 20 have beaten England like 3 times the last 2 years.
No, I have to admit, people have said watch out for the youngsters, and I ignored it because I would see too much Zebra and Benetton in my life, and Italy not winning international. But yes, there were eye-catching performances from us that year.
I also think what's going to happen what's going to be really good for them is the fact that they've got so many more players now playing overseas. The fact that Paolo Busy is playing, in France, and it's not like he's there to bench and anything. He's there to actually play. So I think that I think for me will be the big thing for I mean Benetton have been getting more competitive. Zebra is still a bit of a joke, and they need to sort that out. But I think the more that if you've got somebody like Lorenzo Canoni, who I think is going to be proper, if he's playing in a top 14 or in a premiership and stuff like that, I think that'll go a long way to them actually becoming genuinely competitive.
Steve, I do say tongue in cheek, and obviously I do mean what I say about it, because I would love stronger international teams. I would love it. I would love to at least 12 teams that on any day you think, okay, they got a chance. So I want Italy to be strong. I want Fiji to be strong. I want them to be, But at the moment we got a pool of 8. We only can pull together 6. Maybe 3 meaningful hardcore tests a weekend. That are gonna. But anyway, I mean, it's been like that from the beginning. But it will be nice.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, we could actually be talking to Peter Rabbit, and we could see Georgia beating some teams in the World Cup. We'll know in 3 weeks' time, won't we?
They do come. The pool games I love the pool games of the World Cup because they bring it. Those underdogs, the lower teams bring it, and they do give the top tiers a bloody good game.
And there's always that kind of moments, aren't there? Like Ngwenya rounding a banner. That's spoken about today. It doesn't matter that they crashed out, but there's always those sort of iconic tier 2 nation moments where it's like that big hit, that try, that when Chile score their first Rugby World Cup try ever, that'll be those really cool moments as well.
Well, actually, talk about what's the bigger ones that you can remember? I think Tonga beat France in 2011, right? That was a biggie. Maybe Argentina beating France in the opener.
And
Argentina was an underdog, but it was a big result.
And was it Scotland that knocked out England? Well, they knocked out someone when I think it was who was the Scotland one? I think Greg Laidlaw. I'm sure it was Scotland
in 2015.
I think it was 2015. Yeah. Well, obviously the Japan beating us, and we didn't go there.
Yeah, Japan. Okay, that was out of my brain. Thanks for reminding me that. Scott. There was that controversial. That was a controversial Craig Jabir game against Australia, was it? But was that the quarterfinal or the semi? Who did Australia beat? Because we lost to New Zealand. Who did Australia beat in the semi? Can't remember. Wales? No, we knocked out Wales.
in 2015.
Jeez. Yeah.
Yeah, we knocked out Wales and then lost to New Zealand.
Yes.
Australia were
Yeah.
in the finals. I think I want to say they beat
Was
England. No. Or did they beat
it,
Argentina?
it probably was Argentina.
You know what?
Must
I've
have been.
got the beauty of the internet, so we can speculate, or we can actually find out. Chat.
Because you remember that game, that Australia-Scotland game, with Greg Japan never refed another game in his life.
Yeah.
He got right.
Yeah,
because
as
of
I
that
said,
all.
I just need to back yourself. It was Argentina who beat Ireland in Cardiff, hammered them 43-20 to get to the
Yes.
semi-final, and then lost to Australia, and then Australia because we beat Argentina in the third and fourth playoff.
Yeah, well, that's another scar to send Irish way, hey? Jeez.
Imagine being pumped by Argentina, like basically at home. I mean, yeah, it's Cardiff, but I
But
mean,
that Irish record of those, just every quarterfinal, every single World Cup is an amazing record. Why do we want to give it up, eh?
No, the problem is that we all laugh, but we all know that it's going to come. That they will win the World Cup eventually, and then we're in big trouble because the problem is maybe it's one of those things where once the monkey's off the back, they're going to go and win a couple.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. I mean, them in France have been nations on the rise, and arguably New Zealand a little bit lower, but still really good. Us kind of like feels like we've just been like there, and Australia on a decline. So that's going to be so interesting. That quarterfinal, whoever on that side of the draw, those two quarterfinals are going to be redonk.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be fun. But yeah, people, that's as much time as we've got for tonight. Time flies when you're talking shit. So Chris, thank you very much for jumping on. We will be checking back in the week's time to see how those players went. I've locked them in while you're chatting them. I actually was on the Boyle Sports and I was getting my bets in for the weekend. Got to start getting myself some spending money for France, so I can go buy all the jerseys. I'm trying to decide which jersey to buy. Like I want to buy like one or two of the different ones. Like I like the Italian jersey. I think like the Chilean jersey is pretty cool, and like I want to buy like a Romania jersey might be quite cool, but it's also yellow. And like when am I going to wear yellow? You know, so I need to try.
I also actually need to do some jersey investing, so I'll do it.
Maybe we should actually on across the team just also start looking for different ones. You know, it'd be boring if like all four of us go and get the same jersey. So maybe you start.
Let's go. Let's do that.
Right, there we go. People, if you have jumped in and you've been part of it, please do smash like on the video. Please do smash like. Please subscribe to the channel as well. We are past 36,000 subscribers, so this weekend we're going to try and move on to 37, maybe even 38, if we can get a nice watch long in. We want to try and get to 40,000 before the World Cup. That is the plan, people. So if you haven't already, don't be an enemy of progress and go and do that. Go and sign up for Boyle Sports, who have been bringing you the show. Link in the chat, link in the description, and you can go follow Chris on X. That's horrendously deteriorating platform, which was once great, and now
I'll make a few posts now. It's not a tweet, it's a post.
It's a post. Oh yeah, because that's a repost, not a retweet. Yeah, I mean, I thought that Wales and England have fallen from grace quickly, but that's been a whole different thing over there. Anyway, we're not going to talk about the X Twitter RIP. But yeah, people, thank you very much for tuning in. As always, if you are just tuning in now, this will be available as a podcast across all your favorite audio platforms. So you can go and stream it on the way to work tomorrow. And apart from that, we will see you guys tomorrow, as well as over the weekend for some live streams. You're going to be seeing myself, you're going to be seeing Mark, you're going to be seeing Wes, all on the various watch-alongs over the weekend, so it should be a lot of fun. And the countdown is officially on. Tomorrow marks 3 weeks and counting, 21 days until the World Cup does start, so time to start getting excited. People, keep well, keep safe. Chris, thank you very much. And everybody, we'll see you next time.
Thank you, everyone. Yeah.
Hello and welcome to Forever Rugby on Forever Sports. But today's how to watch guide for the Summer Nations series, which really gets underway in all earnest this weekend. And the good news is there are a range of broadcasts which will be showing all the action throughout the rest of the month. Lots of cool sport on. In terms of the Summer Nations, this weekend we have got Scotland versus France, Wales versus England, Ireland versus Italy. Next weekend, England versus Wales. The box play against Wales, and it'll be on. So that'll be part of the Summer Nation series, as well as New Zealand games as well. So there's a whole bunch of games that's going to be part of the Summer Nation series. It's basically the Autumn Nation series, which is what the end of year tour has become. but now in August as a Rugby World Cup warm-up schedule. And the big question is, how can I watch all the action? Right, well, the good news is that, first of all, there are free-to-air broadcasters, and you can watch the entire week or month's coverage live on Amazon Prime with a free trial. However, these are only available for those in the UK or in Ireland. So if you're outside those territories, you can still use the same method I'm about to show you, but you're going to have to use a VPN. Now, we recommend using either ExpressVPN or else Bitdefender over there, which are one of our partners. They've got a very good functional VPN, which works very nicely. And basically what you're going to do, I'm going to show you how to use ExpressVPN. So first things first, you're going to go down into the description below. You're going to download your VPN. I'm going to show you what ExpressVPN looks like. And once installed, it's going to look something like that. You're going to go to these three little dots over here. That's going to bring up a bunch of locations. And you're going to go and select the UK. Once that is available, you're then going to go to I'm going to recommend using Amazon Prime because every single game is on there and you can get a free 30-day trial. So you're then going to go to Amazon Prime, amazon.co.uk. And then the Prime address there, and because you're connected through the VPN, it basically geolocates your device to make it seem as if you're in the UK. As a result, you can get access to the Prime thing, and there it is. These are all the Autumn Nations games and stuff like that. If I go to Scotland versus France, you'll see they're included with Prime. It goes live tomorrow. The nice thing about Prime is it's got brilliant panels. It's got really good coverage. It's got different languages, for example. And if you scroll over here, you can see there's the Wales versus South Africa game as well as in Welsh language. We keep going over here. There's just so many various games across the rest of the month, which is going to be really, really cool. So if you have any questions, put them down in the comments below. Certain games will be on RTE, which is a free-to-air broadcaster. So we'll be doing specific videos on those games showing you how to watch. But apart from that, get yourself an Amazon Prime free trial, get yourself a VPN so you can access it and watch all the action live throughout the rest of the month. If you have any questions, put them in the comments below. Apart from that, smash like on the video, subscribe to the channel as well, and I will see you guys next time. Hello and welcome to Forever Rugby on Forever Sport for today's World Rankings preview ahead of the weekend of Summer Nations Series, and there can be very big movement across the weekend. We could see the number one side in the world, Ireland, drop as low as fourth. We could see New Zealand become the new number one side in the world. We can see South Africa actually go up to second in the world. So there's a lot of different things that can happen across the board, and so that should make add a little bit of extra spice to the weekend fixtures. And it's a very nice game, South Africa versus Wales and Cardiff. You've got Wales taking on, you got England taking on Ireland. Over in Ireland, France versus Fiji, for example, should be a great game. So it should be some really, really cool games across the board. Italy taking on Romania. You've got Georgia taking on the USA as well. And so, yeah, there can be quite a lot of movement in this sort of the top section of the world rankings. Before I go to exactly what can happen and what needs to happen for that to happen, please do smash like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel as well. Right, let's go through what the permutation highlights are. So we'll start with the top and move down to the bottom. So defeat for Ireland against England would see them surrender the number one spot to New Zealand. So New Zealand would become number one in the world this weekend if Ireland do lose to England. Unfortunately, Ireland cannot increase their cushion at the top because of the 10.29 point difference between the teams, and before the home advantage is factored in. So therefore, even a win for Ireland does not improve their ranking points. They will remain the same, but they will not surrender that top spot. So if they win, they will stay at number one. If they lose, they will move down to second. However, if the right results go in the right ways, it is possible for Ireland to drop as many as 3 places down to fourth if they lose by more than 15 points. And South Africa win by the same margin against Wales, and France beat Fiji. So in terms of South Africa, they will replace France in third if they beat Wales by any margin and regardless of the result. So that's big news for Springbok. So if we win tomorrow, we will move up to at least third place. We will overtake France because France cannot improve on their rating due to the 10.52 difference between the sides before the home factor is waiting in up against Fiji. But if we were to beat France by more than 15, beat Wales by more than 15 points, and Ireland were to lose, we could actually go ahead of Ireland as well, which means we can actually go up as high as second place. Ireland can move down to third, and France can, if France beat Fiji, they can go down to fourth, with New Zealand going up to number one, South Africa number two. So that could be quite interesting. All of a sudden, we could be moving into next weekend with New Zealand, South Africa, France, Ireland, and all of a sudden, like, it's almost top four has been reversed from sort of last year. Unfortunately, France cannot improve their rating at all, as I said, because of where Fiji are. So, and they've got the home ground advantage. England must beat Ireland by more than 15 points if they'll move up to 5th and to replace Scotland, which is quite unlikely. Obviously, they get a big factor because the Ireland are number 1. Wales can jump as many as 3 places to 7th if they beat South Africa more than 50 points, and Fiji fail to beat France. Fiji have never been ranked higher than 8th, but 6th place is possible this weekend if they beat France by more than 15 points, and if Ireland match in the margin, and Ireland match the margin in a victory over England. So Fiji can go up to as high as 6th place. 4th place, smaller margin of victory. 4th place is the lowest that France can fall to in defeat, and with a fraction over 10 points between themselves and USA, Georgia cannot improve their rating this weekend against Georgia. However, shock defeat against the Eagles could lead to a fall as many as 3 places down to 14th if Italy are victorious at home against Romania. USA will move above Uruguay in victory, and also Portugal if they win by more than 15 points, a gain of 2 places, which will take them up to 16th. Italy cannot improve in their 13th place in their own right, but a win combined with a defeat for Georgia would see them climb to 12th. And Romania head over to Italy. The win has potential to move them up the rankings, but only if it's combined with a defeat for USA away to Georgia. In terms of very, very down the park, and some fun facts, really. Colombia will move ahead of Ukraine into 36th place, so they beat Paraguay in the opening round of the Sudamerica Rugby 4 Naciones. Paraguay could fall as many as 7 places in defeat, whilst the win for Paraguay will be accompanied by a 3-place rise, whatever the margin, while Colombia will fall 3 or 4 places depending on the margin. So there we go. If you want to know more what's happening down the rail at the bottom rankings, it's what's happening over there in Sudamerica. Uruguay's match is also an Argentina 15 game against Uruguay, but that will not count towards rankings because it is not a test match. In terms of the match officials, we've got Jaco Paper, who will be officiating Georgia's match against the USA. Andrew Brace will be taking charge of Wales versus South Africa. Paul Williams from New Zealand will be refereeing Ireland versus England, whilst Luke Pearce will take charge of Italy versus Romania. And the France versus Fiji game will be officiated by Nika Amashakili from Georgia. So those are the match officials for the weekend. So yeah, pretty cool to see what the Springboks can do, and I think it'll be a bit of a Southern Hemisphere charge, I suppose, if the right results go in the right way. But at the very least, it looks like a win for South Africa would mean that it would be Ireland number 1, New Zealand number 2, South Africa number 3, and France number 4. And obviously, South Africa versus New Zealand next weekend could become very, very interesting because, that could be a fight for top spot if Ireland were to lose this weekend. So lots to play for with regards to the ratings. If you do take much notice of them, let me know what you think some of the results are going to be this weekend and where you think we will be, us being South Africa, will be on come Monday, and down in the comments below. Apart from that, smash like on the video, subscribe to the channel as well. We will be live for the South African game, the Ireland-England game, as well as France versus Fiji over the weekend. So come and join us on the watch-alongs, and we'll see you guys all there. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Steve, and I'll chat to you soon. Hello and welcome to Favorite Rugby on Favorite Sport. For today's preview, Ireland versus England. A very interesting match. 2 very strong sides being named by both coaches. And one of the first or the last 2 games of the Rugby World Cup matches. And 2 very important games for different reasons for each side. For Ireland, they are the number 1 side in the world. They've got the targets on their back. They are expected to mount probably one of the biggest title charges, really, becoming the World Cup next to the likes of France. And try and really put to bed that whole idea of the fact that they just kind of choke in World Cups and they can't really do it come the World Cup. For England, Borthwick's probably starting to find as strong as 23, and now it's about getting them firing. It's about making them as competitive as possible so that come the World Cup, they can actually sneak their way into a semi-final, into a quarter-final, because they've got the right side of the draw. So if they can just pitch up and mount a couple of good games, they actually can get quite far. And then I suppose once you get to playoff rugby can be a bit of a lottery. It's definitely not as foretold as, for example, group games where generally the stronger team will come out on top 9 times out of 10. Group stages do funny things to different teams. So before we look at the 2 sides, please do smash like on the video. please do subscribe to the channel as well. We'll start with the home side, which is Ireland, and this is how they do line up. James Ryan will captain the side in the second row there. It's a very strong side, very close to being their best side. A couple of players like for example, a Robbie Henshaw who will probably get involved. Obviously, Johnny Sexton potentially came back from injury. But apart from that, the kind of group together is probably close to their strongest group. In the front row, though, we've got Andrew Porter, Dan Sheehan, and Ty Furlong. And then you've got Ty Burn, James Ryan. I think that's probably their strongest Ty 5. I'm a massive Ty Burn fan. I think that he is as good on the flank as he is at lock. But he's one of those players you can't leave out of your 23, let alone probably your 15. Tremendous player. I think James Ryan's also been a really, really solid, almost understated type player in the last few years. The loose show, Peter Amani, Josh Brandon-Fleer are joined by Kian Prendergast, which is an interesting selection getting in a go this weekend. You do expect to see Caelan Doris come into the side come the World Cup. But until then, we will see the youngster, 23 years old. I'm a very big fan of him, big ball carrier, likes the physical side of the game. I think he's got 50, 60 Irish caps written all over him, to be honest. This is his third appearance this weekend, but I think he'll go on to have a really good Irish career. Jamison Gibson Park will partner Ross Byrne, who I suppose right now, in terms of availability, is the number one choice. We do expect Johnny Sexton to replace him, and then he'll probably be his understudy come the World Cup. But I'll tell you what, Jack Crowley's been playing some good rugby lately as well, so interesting to see how he goes. The two wings, James Lowe, Mac Hansen, and then the centres, Bundy Aki next to Gary Ringrose. As I said, Robbie Henshaw will be involved, I'm sure. And lots of options there that they do have. No Stuart McCloskey, for example, in the 23 this weekend. And Hugo Keenan at full back. What a player he is, and amazing to see how quickly he's gotten into Test rugby and become such a mainstay. Off the bench, it'll be Rob Herring, Jamie Lyman, Finlay Beedham. You then got Joe McCarthy, Caelan Doris, Conor Murray, Jack Crowley, and Keith Earls. Keith Earls will be making his 100th appearance for Ireland this weekend off the bench. So a huge occasion for him and his family. And small round legend of the game, really, Keith Earls. He's 35 years old, so to still be doing it on the wing at 35 is really impressive. 100th test, he scored 175 test points. Made his debut back in 2008. So 15 years after, when he was a young 20-year-old, he will be playing, making his 100th appearance off the bench. Still very much in the Ireland mix, though. Right, then for England, no Owen Farrell. He is available, technically speaking. However, given the fact that all the disciplinary issues surrounding him, Steve Borthwick decided not to pick him. As a result, George Ford will steer the ship, and I think that England are a much better side when he does. So I think it's a very good choice. So in the front row, Ellis Genge will start next to Jamie George and Will Stewart. He comes in for Joe Marler. Murray Toja has a new lock partner in David Ribbons, the Toulon lock who's making his 6th appearance for England. Courtney Lawes, the understated but brilliant Courtney Lawes, is the captain. And I think that he's England's best player. And I think that if he plays well, I think he's got a really big opportunity now to galvanise this English side to really sort of start filling up their potential. Ben Earl had an absolute stormer last weekend, and Billy Vanapola was a little bit slow or a little bit quiet maybe last weekend. We'd like to see a bit more from him. The most experienced English player ever, Ben Young's partners George Ford. Two wings are Elliot Daly and Anthony Watson. Once again, Joe Marchant's got a new centre partner as Manu Tuolagi returns to the side. We also have our sponsors and our partners, Boyle Sports and Bit Defender. Now, if you are looking for a way in which you can watch today's game between the Irish and the English, which is being played in Ireland in the Aviva Stadium, then be sure to go look at the description of the video and you can see exactly what is happening that side as well. So go and check that out. Otherwise, we should be having a great match coming up for us. But go and check the description of the video to see exactly how you can do that. And just confirming here, I have come across, so there we go, perfect. So welcome everybody to the stream, and sorry we're just having a small little bit of issues today with the streams for some unknown reason, but we are back here, we are fine. My green screen's not brilliant, but you know what, it'll work. We'll make it work. And so the Irish versus the English, a big game, of course, and they don't like each other at all. Everybody hates each other, so we'll see what happens there. But otherwise, in the other game that's been happening in build-up to the World Cup coming up next month, there's, of course, South Africa versus Wales, which has now ended, and complete and utter domination from the South Africans. The Welsh, just a comedy of errors, really. A couple of intercept tries. I think 3 intercept tries in total in that game there, which was quite ridiculous. So that was poor from the Irish, from the Welsh. And South Africa definitely capitalised. Possession-wise, let's just look at the possession in that game. Unbelievable.
if you go and look at the South Africa's possession versus Wales, 85% possession in favour of the South Africans, with Welsh only with 15%. That's unbelievable. That's like, it's next to no possession at all for the Welsh. Tries, of course, South Africa scored 7. Wales scored 1. Conversions, 5 for South Africa, 1 for Wales. Wales did have 3 penalty kicks, though, at least. And they both only conceded, supposedly, 5 penalties each, with 1 yellow card going to South Africa and 2 to Wales. And a penalty try was, of course, given to South Africa as well, which resulted in one of those yellow cards for Wales. Now, that was, of course, Wales versus South Africa. We're not here for that. We're here for Ireland versus England. And, yeah, let me know in the chat who you guys watching, who you're supporting, and what is the chat there. And, yeah, we're having a whole lot of people jumping across the stream, so great to have you all here. So let's just review and preview exactly what's going to happen in today's game. Now, lots of talk has been happening about Owen Farrell over the last week. Massive news with regards to his sighting, and then his sighting being overturned, or at least being there, and then now World Rugby saying no, we're going to actually have a rethink about this. So as a result, he will not be playing in today's game, as he's pending investigation as to whether he will receive a ban after that independent panel went and said no ban required, and we've rescinded the red card. They have since now said, hang on, we're actually going to have a look at this. World Rugby has said something's wrong here, and there was a huge uproar from the rest of the world about it. So I think that was in retaliation and in reaction to that. So good to see that that's actually being looked at. So we will see exactly how England play out now, of course, without Owen Farrell in the team. Marcus Smith comes onto the bench, and I just want to go back to, I'm just going to the squads here. Yeah, and so, yeah, Marcus Smith comes onto the bench. And then we've got at number 10 for England today, George Ford. Now, George Ford has been playing very well anyway, so we're going to see how England should match up with that. It's a big game, and Ireland, of course, will be looking to win it, although they're not as confident as they usually are. They're just a little bit concerned about today's game, because essentially they haven't had many sessions together, and also haven't had much competitive rugby for the team for the past couple of months. So they're going to be a little bit rusty, they reckon, but otherwise they should be fine. So let's just go and read a little bit over here in terms of previewing today's England versus Ireland game. So here we go. Let's just go right up to the top here. So, my word, is a long thing that I managed to get up. So anyway, Ireland and England clash in the Rugby World Cup warm-up match at the Aviva Stadium this evening. So James Ryan admits there are some nerves around for the hosts ahead of the game. George Ford insists England are eager to improve their attacking game. So that's, of course, what's happening there. James Ryan, of course, of Ireland, saying the lack of competitive rugby in recent months for many of the Ireland teams means that there will be nerves for the hosts going into Saturday's Rugby World Cup warm-up test against England in Dublin. At the same time, though, the English were struggling against Wales at the past 2 tests that they had against them. Only just squeaked past them last weekend's game. And when you compare that to South Africa now, who thrashed Wales, it's very big concerns for England themselves. So Ireland should be very firm favourites for today, but of course these are 2 massive teams in the world of rugby. So we'll see what happens there. It's a packed Aviva Stadium. The English anthem currently being sung right now. Let me just go and quickly get something from the. I just need to get a couple of things sorted in the stream here, just so that I can get the scoreboard working. Yeah, so just watching now, the Irish are now singing their anthem here. So we're about to get going here in this World Cup warm-up match. Now, let me know in the comments, of course, who are you supporting? Who do you think is going to win this game, and by how much? Is it going to be a whitewash for Ireland, or are we going to see similar sort of scorelines that we saw right now in South Africa and Wales? We're going to see 50-plus points for Ireland. Are England going to capitulate? Lots of talk about England, of course, over the last week, especially with Owen Farrell. So maybe that's done some negative things in training. Otherwise, maybe it could be a very close game. Ireland, as we say, are a little bit rusty, having not played for a while. So yeah, we'll see exactly what will pan out as this game gets going. So just getting the code here so I can put it into our scoreboard. I think we should have a scoreboard somewhere. Maybe I don't actually have one. In which case, I do very much appreciate our new person helping out in the team. Yeah, because we're just going to try and fix that up now. Yeah, I mean, the Irish, of course, are quite firm favourites for the World Cup itself, them along with France. They're the two being talked about the most. Of course, New Zealand's picked up a lot of form going into this World Cup, so they're always one to watch, of course, 3-time winners. South Africa have got a lot of depth, but they're struggling in that fly-half position, and I think they'll come short as a result of that. So yeah, let me know in the comments as well, who do you think is going to win the World Cup, and who's looking the best going into it? Of course, we've still got a couple of warm-up games left before we get going. But, you know, we're seeing some early signs of the teams to watch and the teams that could make the difference. Felix the Box in the comments just saying, probably the most important test match before the World Cup for the Box, how to beat Ireland. And exactly that. How do the Box beat Ireland? Yeah, so let's just try and sort out a couple of things for the stream before we get going on in. I just want to try and check. There's a couple of small things I want to just change and get ready and get going. There we go. Found it there. Let's go and just change that quickly. And then we will all of us be on the same page. I think we should have now got that up. In which case we are all good to go. And I will bring up the tracker as well for you guys so that you can all see it as well. And again, if you guys are looking for a way to watch the game for free, be sure to go and check out our partners and look in the description of this video here. It's got a Bitdefender and ExpressVPN link there. You can go and follow, and you can use the instructions in the channel as well and in the description of the video to go and see exactly how you can watch it all. And be sure to go and check those out and make use of it. So I just want to make sure that we are ready to go. Your match is about to start. So I'm going to bring up the tracker here, and here we go, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, we are very close to the start. Sorry, I thought we were going, but we're not quite going just yet. The Aviva Stadium packed as usual. I'm going to get my headphones on so I can hear what's happening in the game as well. Yeah. And let me know where you guys are tuning in from. Are you guys coming in across from Steve's stream there to watch this? You know, of course, South Africa just absolutely nailed Wales. I don't think I've ever seen a Wales team capitulate quite that badly in recent times. So yeah, shocking from them. I don't think we're going to see the same in this English game versus Ireland. So yeah, let me know in the comments what do you think is going to happen. This is going to be a close game. This is going to be a big game. I reckon Ireland will probably win this comfortably, although as James Ryan goes and says in preview to this match, he reckons this could be a bit of a rough one because they're not quite under practice. We've got a countdown here happening, even though we're not actually going to get going. Paul Williams is the referee today. He's just checking with all the captains that we are good to go. And we are about to have kickoff. Got cameras here on Daily of England. But now the ball is going to be kicked off from Ireland, who's playing from left to right. And England will receive. The ball has been put into play. We are here, action underway in the Aviva Stadium in Dublin. There we go. And England been told to use it and have immediately exited out of their 22. It's not gone out, though. So here comes Ireland on the attack. Comes from the back there. And, yeah, just waiting on the ball to come. Comes through the forwards. And just bashing up. Already getting a bit of there. I think that's Sexton there. Yeah, making some good ground. Indeed, he does. Ireland showing some early promise here. Just breaking a few tackles already. Just in the midfield here. Spreading now the ball very nicely. My word, very quickly. Although, great tackle there. I think that's from Daly. Is that Daly? It is Daly making a great tackle. Now also trying to turn the ball over. The ball's come out. England chasing here. And Ireland do eventually manage to get back. No, England have stolen it. Brilliant steal there. So now England with the ball. Courtney Laws was the one that took it out there. And now spreading across the line here. England have got numbers on the wing if they can get it there. Oh, great tackle from Ireland there. Great tackle. They're just watching to see. They're asking for a knock-on. It's not quite. So it remains with England. And it gets taken out of the rack. So, there we go. James Gatz in the comments saying Ireland will fold England. Well, right now, England's had a decent start here. Managed to win the ball back in midfield. And here comes, I assume, well, it was going to be a box kick, but it's not. And George Ford now kicks the ball cross-field. Is Daly going to be able to get it? Daly misses it, but so does Ireland. And it goes out. It will be the first line out of the game. And Hansen there missing it for Ireland. I think it came off him, which means that it will be an England lineout. Yeah, we'll see if that's exactly what happened there. Yeah, great couple of tackles there for England. And yeah, it will be an English lineout as George puts the ball in and they set up the maul, comes out with Laws. Now comes across to the back line. Daly passes out, gets taken out a little bit after the ball had gone, spreads out to the wing, but yeah, England do manage to retain possession, but they don't get through the line there. It's a little bit edgy for England right now, I think. That's how I describe this. A little bit edgy. It's a weird start to the game because it's very broken already. There's no structure at all. England just trying to set up some phases here. The ball comes through, and very quickly, and Ford makes something of it. I think it's a little bit too deep. Indeed, it is too deep. And Hansen will call the mark in the 22 there. So, break and play here. So, Hansen has kicked it out. It's not a great kick. It's gone out inside his 10-meter line, and England will have another line out exactly where they had their earlier one. So not too brilliant for them. And it's got a long throw all the way out to the back there for England. Didn't quite work though. And trying now Daly. Daly being used a lot here in these early stages here, and it's an advantage to England. The first penalty advantage for not running away, and England are going to try and make use of this. Ford passes out to Laws. Courtney Law, sorry. Now comes back here for England. It's a little bit scrappy still. And yeah, we will come back for that penalty now. And I'm sure England will opt for the posts here, because surely, I mean, why on earth would you not? You need to get points. It's warming up to the World Cup here, and also this is against the number one team in the world, being Ireland. So England with early chance at points here. Just not rolling away indeed. Yeah, so George Ford here is going to have an attempt at goal, and we'll see if he gets it over. I'm sure he will. Very good kick of the ball, of course. And England have got good depth in the fly half position, unlike South Africa at the moment. England have got George Ford, they've got Marcus Smith in the background here, and of course, if they can get him out of his band, English captain Owen Farrell. And we see him there in the smiling about in the boxes there in the Aviva Stadium. I'm not sure he's going to be smiling come the next week. I think he might well get a sighting. So George Ford with the kick now goes straight through the middle, and that'll be the first points to England. 3-0 currently the score. So Ireland, for their number one, will be seeing themselves behind. And if you guys are joining me again, let me know where you're watching from, and I hope that I can bring you a nice game here. It should be a cracking game. Two massive teams in the north. England having been the only team winning a World Cup from the north. Ireland, one of the two favourites for the World Cup coming up. Them and France being dubbed the two to watch. Although, don't ever keep New Zealand out of your mouth, as they will surely also be knocking on that door. So will the reigning champions. England, however, going into this not in the greatest of form, and Australia certainly not going into this World Cup, with a lot going for them. Penalty to Ireland here on halfway. There you go. Courtney Law just being called out there. I think he went for the ball without releasing, or maybe coming in from the side. I can't see what the ref's saying there. In at the side. There you go. That's what he's saying. Ireland have gone for the line. It's a good kick. It looks like it's gone out about England's 22-meter line. So it'll be an attacking opportunity for Ireland. And the crowd are getting behind the boys. The boys in green. So Sheehan's going to put the ball in here from the line out for Ireland. And it comes back to him. He's stumbling around the outside there. Gets taken out. It was an interesting little move from Ireland. Didn't quite work though. Comes out now to the midfield here. And it's dropped a little bit. Oh, and he's passed it back to England. England now, I think it's Ford that's managed to kick the ball far forward. And there's a big chase now happening in the midfield here. Who's going to get there first? And Ireland managed to get there first. Just gets there in time. But great little piece of defense there from England. And they're all the way back in Ireland's 22. And now it comes to, comes from James Lowe, and it's a great kick from him in the clearance kick there. And the Irish fans very much appreciative of that kick as well. So England have actually seemingly started this game all right. I mean, they're not looking too phased by the Irish. The Irish should have had a better opportunity there. They just messed up big time. But England still holding onto the ball relatively well. So not too bad for the men in white. So the Irish will want to try and get themselves on the scoreboard as soon as possible. Not let England get comfortable with this. As England do now take the line out. Courtney Laws goes up, takes it down. They formed a maul. It's very slow. Young's is now slowly walking up there to the maul. And I'm sure he's going to kick it straight out. Straight from the maul. Indeed he does. And there's going to be a chase here from, it's a half-ass chase. And, big hit there coming in from Manu Tuilagi. And now Ireland's got big space here. James Lowe's got space. He tries to do the dimmy, but doesn't get past him. He's just past his 10-meter line in the English half now. Ireland spreading the board here. And, big break here. And it could be Ireland to score the first try. It will be Ireland to score the first try. There you go. Bundiaki scores the first try here for Ireland. Great little break there from their captain, old James. No, not their captain, James Ryan. What am I talking about? I think it was Peter O'Mahony who got the break. And there you go. Try time for Ireland. Easy as that. So Aki there with the try for Ireland. English defence just leaving a huge gap there for the Irish forwards to get through. Just seeing here who makes the break. Yeah, indeed. It is Omani, as I said. Yeah, Peter Omani, who found the gap there in the English defence. He went through, and Aki was supporting him very well and just passed it in. And Aki then had to beat one defender with relative ease, just went around the outside, of course, having the advantage of go forward ball. And now it will be the kick to come here for Ross Byrne. He puts the ball straight through the middle, and it's 7-3 to the Irish, the number one team in the world, leading England. Not really too surprising, I suppose, that the Irish are beating England here. I thought England had started all right, but they've just crumbled now a little bit in that defence, just leaving a big gap. You can't do that to a team of this sort of standard. So we'll have another restart here and we'll get going. Yeah, Young's just missing out the last man tackle there. And Bundiaki goes easy. Of course, the Irish are really going to want to try and get as much form going into the group stages as much as, oh my word, and there's a big mistake from Ireland. Sorry, they've just knocked it on inside the 22 from the restart. Now England have a chance to score a try straight away. Oh my word, here we go. Look at this for a carry here from Ellis Genji. And he gets almost to the 5-meter line. And Ireland are defending on their try line. All of a sudden, comes to Vunipola, and he's get driven backwards nicely. Now Mauro Toshi's waiting for this ball. It's not coming, and they're going to have to receive now. George Ford's come forward, but he's not going to get it. Comes to Courtney Laws, who passes through to Manu Tuilagi. Sorry. Big hit there from Ireland. Massive hit there. I think it was Josh van der Fleer with the hit there. And Ireland now over the ball. And there's a penalty to Ireland. Great defence from the Irish. Poor from England not to capitalise there. And it's Peter O'Mahony again. The legend in Irish rugby. Gets that turnover. And Prendergast was actually the one. Was the one that made that tackle. So great from the Irish there. And they've got an exit. They kick it out towards the halfway line. It's a good kick. It's past the halfway line. Great kick there for Ireland. Great exit. And after, it was Kieran Prendergast who knocked the ball on in the 22. It was a great run, though, I must say, from Ellis Genji. Or Genge, or however you want to say it. So Irish line up now. Goes in. England contest. And I think they do win it. Courtney Laws, although the ref has called a free kick. Closing the space. Okay, so there's a free kick to Ireland. Itoje was called out for closing the space too much. Indeed, yeah, you're watching there. He's come right across into the Irish line. As much as the English competed there and Courtney Laws managed to win it, it'll be a free kick to Ireland. I think they've called the scrum, so we'll have our first scrum of the game. This is going to be a big talking point as well. And the fact that the Irish are calling for the scrum means they've got confidence in it. So let's see how their front row does. So it's Andrew Porter, Dan Sheehan, and Tad Furlong, of course, up against Ellis Jenge, Jamie George, and Will Stewart. So the pack weights, England had 921 kgs and Ireland only 899. So England a whole 22 kgs heavier than the Irish. I don't think it's going to do much, though. The Irish front row is a force to be reckoned with. We have bind. And we're going to have a reset scrum. So let's see what happens there now. Ref just giving some pointers there to the forward packs. So about 13 minutes into this game now. So you know, we're starting to get a little bit into the business part of this half. As we get towards the halfway point, we'll see which team is actually more dominant. Ireland are looking better, though England seems to be up for it. They're forcing mistakes from the Irish, or maybe that's just the Irish having a bit of a rustiness, of course. And oh, there we go, free kick to the Irish. So, yeah, an early engagement there from England. The Irish have got a free kick, so will they go for another scrum? I'm sure they will. And indeed, they have called for another scrum. So 7 points to 3. I haven't seen much in terms of attacking enterprise from either side. Maybe England more so than Ireland. Ireland managed to take advantage essentially of some poor English defence, leaving a huge gap there for Peter O'Mahony to run through to give it to Bandiaki. And I think we're about to have a whole lot of people joining us from the review of the South African versus Wales game. So to those of you who are joining me, welcome to the stream. Let me know your thoughts of the earlier game if you did watch it, of course. I would love to know your thoughts in the comments as to how easily South Africa won that game and how poor Wales were, essentially. And do you think Damian Willems's yellow card there was actually a red, or do you think it's right to just keep it as a yellow card? Comes out to Hansen here on the wing for Ireland. He's kicked it forward, and the ball has gone out. It will be an England line out, but it's a great little piece of ingenuity there for the Irish from Hansen. Tried something, didn't quite work, but it's gone out inside England's 22. So, very crucial line out here for England. Close to their try line. Laws goes up, he takes it in. They're setting up the maul. And it's not quite going forward yet, although they're trying to peel around the side here. George is indeed peeling around the side. Peter O'Mahony is apparently in legally, and he's right next door. This maul is very odd. It's basically moving at a side angle. Eventually comes out. Young kicks it forward. And Hansen picks it up now. Here comes Keenan. Keenan gets taken out by George Ford. Great tackle there. Now Ireland's got space here for James Lowe. Sorry, what am I talking about? He tries it. He comes in a little bit. He makes a little bit of ground. Doesn't quite get it. Oh, bit of a misplaced pass there. Hansen picks it up in midfield for Ireland and gets taken out on the halfway line. Now, here comes Ireland once again. England on him very, very carefully there. Oh, it's offsides there. Poor from from David Ribbons. And the ball is chipped over the top. England will get it, and it will result in a penalty to Ireland on the halfway line. Poor from England yet again. That was David Ribbons, who didn't get back and has just gotten in the way of Jamison Gibson Park for Ireland. So a whole lot of you, there you go. There's a whole lot of people joining us for the stream. Welcome to the stream, everybody. Let me know where you're watching from. Be sure to keep those comments coming in. What did you guys think of the Wales game? The Wales-South Africa game. And what are your thoughts on this game? Who's going to win? And by what sort of margins are we looking at? I think we do have a poll up as well. Be sure to go and participate in that as well. We're 16 minutes into this game. Just watching their Ribbons again, getting very, very obviously in the way. But at the same time, Gibson Park doing very well and being very clever as a scrum half just to make sure that he's seen as to be in an offside position. And yeah, Ireland now have got an attacking opportunity here. Could they score the second try? But we've just got a man down in back play here. It looks to be Genji, or Genge, however you want to say it. It is indeed, he's down. Don't quite know what's wrong there, but just been tended to by the medical staff. I think he's good, so we should be fine. It's quite incredible to go and see the drop-off of England since the Rugby World Cup in 2019. They've really struggled in the last couple of years in terms of getting consistent results. Which is a bit odd for such a top-tier nation. Ireland, of course, have been top tier themselves. And here they've just put the line-out in and they're setting up the maul. It seems to be turning a little bit, although all these players are in legally and is now holding on. I think England have done very well here. And it's in the maul. And have they managed to clear it? They have, Ireland, luckily so. They take that out. And here comes Van der Fleer. Who drives it up. Ireland now comes again. It comes to Aki. Gets taken down. Gibson Park now passes the ball out. Ooh, it's not the greatest pass. Has to take a knee there. Does Ringos. Oh, and a knock on there from Ireland. So England's defence is not being too bad, actually. They're rushing them quite a lot. Forcing mistakes on the Irish. Been a few mistakes already. Happy Brew here in the comments saying, will be interesting if England pull a rabbit out of the hat and win the game. We will all be wondering what it means. Indeed. So, yeah, it's very much up in the air if it's a close game. If it's a close game, it's going to be interesting because if you want to be that sort of person, you can look at it like this. You know, last week, Wales and England, very close game. England scraped by. And that same Welsh team just got beat 52, had 52 points put past them by the Boks. So it's proper thrashing, and it was at home for Wales. And if the English go off to Ireland and put up a seriously big fight, then, that sort of says something about the Irish versus the Springboks. Maybe the Springboks could be licking their lips and looking at that Irish game. Of course, the two big teams there in the same group for the World Cup coming up in just a couple of weeks, the Irish and the Springboks. So maybe the Springboks will be backing themselves. So it's a big game in terms of understanding where Ireland are as a team and where England are as a team. Because, now Springboks can sort of start matching themselves up in terms of, their skill level, where they're at in terms of form and otherwise. I will say this, though. Wales were shocking earlier. Many mistakes. I mean, I think 3 intercept tries, or at least 2 intercept tries and a penalty try. So, really not great from the Welsh. But if we want to look into it far too much, it might be a little bit telling in terms of how England do against Ireland as a result of how well South Africa did against Wales. And we'll start to get an understanding of who's got the form going into the World Cup. It's a huge group having Ireland and South Africa in the same group. And on the other side, you've got France and you've got New Zealand in the same group. So 4 massive teams all fighting it out for just a semi-final spot. Oh, brilliant play from Ireland. Now comes to Hansen on the wing here. He cuts in. He beats a couple. He comes in. He goes past the 10-meter line in the English half. Although I think they're off their feet. They're England. It will be a penalty to Ireland indeed. Off their feet. And it was Ben Earl off his feet. And Mario Toje also not helping out too much. Be interested to see what Ireland do here. They've had a couple of penalties where they could have done something more with it. And they're going for the line again. They're opting for the tries. Not going for points. So it's gone out about 15 meters away from the try line there. Great piece of play there from Ireland. Great little ingenuity. Hansen gets the ball, goes forward quite well. James Daw, unfortunately. James Lowe. I keep saying Daw. I don't know why. James Lowe was looking for it, asking for it. Didn't get it though. And he was a little bit upset about that, but I'm sure it's all good. So halfway through the halfway point, and then the first half. How's that for a mouthful? Oh, Owen Farrell had a fat smile on his face earlier, now not smiling. Ireland finding a little bit of form in this game. They set up the maul from that scrum. Although there's a penalty being called, England have won it. The penalty, I think, they've said it's a truck and trailer, or the traditional truck and trailer, I think. So obstruction there from the Irish. So the England team get away with it, get a jail out of free card, and George Ford now with the ball in his hands, and he's going to hit this forward to Peter O'Mahony. Not happy about that, but yeah, we'll see. Wesley Hartman in the comments. Wes, how are you 20 minutes done. What are we thinking halftime score will be? My predictions saying 27 to Ireland. So that's actually fairly decent. Oh, it can't be 27. Think about that for a second. England have got 3 points already, Wes. So can't get 7. They can maybe get 8. I reckon I'm gonna back you with that, except I'm gonna say 20 points to 10. So I'm gonna give England a little bit more because they started all right here. Maritoja now wins that line out for England inside their half, outside the 10-meter line. Youngs now hits it up. Daly's going to chase this. Hansen's under it. Hansen wins it very cleanly. George Ford makes the tackle with Ben Earl. Now Ireland are waiting to take it out. Gibson Park calling for his forwards to come there so he can kick it forward. No, he takes it back. And it comes back to Ross Byrne, who kicks it forward. And now comes forward with England. They're going to do the up and under here. Indeed, I can't see who's chasing this ball here. And are Ireland going to get there? He does. Brilliant work there from Keenan for Ireland. Now Gibson Park takes it out quickly. Now here comes... Oh, and this comes Bundy Aki almost had space there. Not quite able to get through. Wesley saying he's just tasting me. I'm sure. Well, we all claim that when we make mistakes, don't we? It's all good. Ireland kick it forward now. And Daly's underneath this. Gets it very easy. He's going to run it up, he says. He's got a little bit of support. Is he going to make use of it? No, he doesn't. Gets taken down. Great tackle. And Ireland almost over it. Not able to, though. Ben Young's now just ordering around his forwards. Oh, England, a little bit out of ideas there. I think just setting up another... Oh, Ireland have got a little bit of a go for it here in the ruck. I think they're going to turn this over. Indeed, they are going to turn this over. Poor from England. They took far too long, although a penalty's been called against Ireland. Unfortunately, they just lost his feet. The last man going in there. They were all legal right up to the last man. Very unfortunate. I think it was Kian Prendergast who was penalised, or Josh van der Veer, one of the two loose forwards there. Ghetto Greg saying, I want Ireland to lose, but Wish Farrell was on to get smashed. Indeed, I think half the world do after last week's incident. But yeah, still up in the air as to whether he will get that ban or not, being investigated again, being reappealed, if you would like, by World Rugby. And England now, with that penalty, have kicked the ball out just past the Irish halfway line. So yeah, guys, let me know in the comments. So let's have a little chat here. I mean, I'll keep going to the side, sorry about that, but I'll keep going to the side. But let me know in the comments. You know, Wales were shocking today, if you watched that game. And yet, they were very competitive with England last week. Now, England are looking quite competitive today. They've got some good go forward right now, as they've got from that line out. And, big tackles there coming in from the Irish. But it's seemingly a much closer game already. So does that say that Springboks are levels ahead of the northern teams at the moment? Or is that just, a luck of the draw today? Wales were just that poor. England here doing very well. They're going to spread the ball to Courtney Laws. No, they're not. Oh, great hit there. And as a penalty, though, they will come back for the penalty to England. But yeah, England are actually not looking too bad at all today. And they've been in the news, of course, in the media a lot this last week, especially with Owen Farrell. So, yeah, 14 green being penalised. That would be Mac Hansen. England could go for posts here. Not sure if they're going to opt for it. George Ford coming up with the ball. I think they're going for poles. Are they going for poles? Yeah, there will be a shot. So, we have a little bit of a time here. So, as I say, I mean, will the Irish be a little bit scrappy today? Will they be a little bit out of practice? They've not had as much rugby as the southern teams, of course. And who do we back in that group as well? Ireland and Springboks, of course, the two major names in that group. Are we reckoning Ireland will be the ones to top it, or are Springboks going to top it? Of course, the current world champions. Current World Cup holders. So, the Springboks are really struggling in that number 10 position, really lacking depth. And for all that, Springboks dominated Wales today. Marty Lubbock didn't have the best of games, did all right in the field, but his kicking was not good. So, lots of questions still being asked of that Springbok team. Whereas every other team seems to have a settled fly half and otherwise good fly halves in the back end there. George Ford with the ball now. I think he's missed it. He has pulled it. So as I'm talking about good fly halves and George Ford and England having a bit of depth there, he's missed the kick there, unfortunately. Happy Boo just saying, I don't think we should read too much into the scoreline against Wales as South Africans. We sometimes get ahead of ourselves because we poverty our team. Ghetto Greg saying, Wales backline was like loosely installed plumbing system. I do enjoy that comment. Yeah, it was It was a bit poor today, Wales. I was really shocked at how poor they were. I didn't expect the Springboks to get that sort of scoreline. I thought it was going to be quite a close game, but in the end, exceptionally comfortable. We were basically toying around with them in the last 10 minutes. England now kicking the ball forward. Ireland going to get... That's a great kick. It's just outside the 22, so he's going to have to get it back there for Keenan. Keenan now misses one tackle, now tries to go forward, but he's taken up. I think that's Genge. And it's now kicked forward by Ross Byrne. And George Ford's got lots of time under this for England. And he's looking like he's going to set up the up and under. He does set it up indeed. It's a bit too far. It's into the 22 there. Great call there. Great catch there, sorry, from Ross Byrne. Happy Bruce saying, sorry, I mean, we love our team. Yes. I was wondering, because we poverty our team, didn't quite understand what you meant by that. But yeah. Yeda saying, come on, Ireland. Let's see if they can beat the English. The English doing all right so far. And Ireland looking very slow in defence, not wanting to come out and meet England. And great take there by Keenan, and he goes from the outside. I think he's been brought out. He's not out, yeah, he's out eventually. But it will be an Irish line-out, so that's interesting. I didn't think it would be. I thought his legs were taken over. But anyway, Irish line-out, so the English will unfortunately not be able to have much of a go at that. So unlucky for them. Ireland go up, they win the ball there, and no, it's going to be a free kick to England. It's gone in skew from Ireland, not good. Yeah, as I say, England actually looking the better team out now because they're just seemingly getting a bit more go forward, and the Irish really just playing poorly so far. Really not looking great, if I'm honest. Gwynia in the comments saying, Welsh team isn't the World Cup team. This game was a training game. We weren't going to win, not with this team anyway. No, indeed. But you had two very different teams there, and both of them, unfortunately, not doing particularly well. So a bit unfortunate for the Welsh fans who turned out today. But as I say, luckily these are warm-up games, so it's not too much of a problem. So just waiting on a scrum here. That's what England have called. The English being warned there. If they stand up again in the scrum, they're going to be free kick. They're going to have a free kick called against them. We're eventually going to get going here. Yeah, so, I mean, it's interesting that Irish are struggling a little bit. As I say, well, James Ryan came out this week and said that they might well struggle because they've not had much competitive rugby in the last couple of months. So maybe that's why they're struggling a little bit. But England seems to be up for this game. Here comes Daly. Indeed, he's been involved a lot early on. Oh, it's a knock on. Surely, eventually, the ref. Not? No ways, referee. Penalty now called against England, so they do eventually get more or less the right call against them. Great little challenge there. Gwyn just, Neil and saying, I'm so glad Farrell got a red card. Indeed, well, it might be worse. He might well get some more ramifications from that. They're coming back to that decision after having an independent panel make a decision. They're going to come back with World Rugby. And Gary Smith, yes, saying in the comments, will be interesting to compare the playing game style to that of the Bokker in the earlier game today. Yeah, it's exactly that. But the Boks are running a lot more than they used to in previous years, so that's also something interesting to note. Sheehan now putting the ball in for this line out for Ireland, just outside the English 22. Oh, it's gone too far. And Genge will come away with the ball for England. Keenan's gone for a chip ahead, but it's a shocking kick. And it's gone straight out, so now they'll come back for that. Yeah, not great there from him at all. So it'll be an England line out inside the Irish half. So not brilliant there at all. Happy Bruce saying in the comments, I'm hoping for a great English performance. If they play well against Ireland, we will also build a bit of confidence against Ireland. Yeah. Ghetto Greg saying, I had no idea Andy Farrell was Owen's father. I'm sure Andy secretly supports England. Yeah, who knows? Well, here comes England at great pace here. The forwards doing a lot of work there. Youngs takes it out. It's going to be an up and under again. England opting for a very Springbok approach here versus Ireland. Lots of kicking. Hansen does well yet again under the high ball. So, yeah, at the moment, not looking too bad for the English. We're inside the 22 for the Irish apparently, so they can kick this out at least. At least, sorry, my word. Indeed, Gibson Park bolts the ball forward. And here come England now. Oh no, it's gone straight back from George Ford. Oh, that's too deep. It's into the 22 yet again. England straight away taken by Ireland. And it's kicked forward. And yeah, George Ford will collect yet again. My word, it's just a kicking game at the moment. Lots and lots of kicking today. And once again, we're going to come here with England. And snap and under. This one, much, much better. Hansen yet again under it. And he's going to receive and he's going to drive forward. He's got his fellow winger on his inside. Pass it through. They've got a little bit of space here for Owen. Sorry, he's just got tackled there before I could even see who it was. Low again now, kicks forward, and it's deep kick, and it's going to come back for a penalty, I think, against England. Indeed. Penalty to Ireland here, inside their own half. So, better play for Ireland, but a long, long kicking passage that we just had there. We're 32 minutes into this half, and it's still only 7-3, so a very low-scoring game. And I'm not sure who's going to be more surprised. The English, the Irish, or me? I did think Ireland would have scored a few more tries so far, but apparently not. Struggling a little bit against this English side, who seems to be very upward. There you go. Dylan knows me very well, apparently. Says, the Springboks had a whale of a time today, and I'll say shocking indeed. That is shocking. That is shocking. It's a shocking little pun there. But I do agree. I pretty much do agree. They had a whale of a time. It was too easy there for the Springboks today. Just trying to watch multiple sports at the moment. I'm also a big football fan, and there's a game happening there as well. So just having that up to one side here. But Ireland still struggling against this English side. They've had a lot of opportunities in terms of coming up on the line and forming a lot of lineouts rather. So on this near touch line, but every single time, yet again, they keep stuffing it up somehow. It's really not looking very good in the lineouts for Ireland. I'd rather opt for the scrums. They're looking a little bit better there. Just going to the comments here. Salty saying, I highly doubt Andy Farrell secretly supports England after the disrespect around his coaching career and playing career. Yeah, but it is his son's team, so one would always have a soft spot for that. Ireland now coming forward here. They're almost into the English 22. Ireland's big misplaced pass. Hansen has to come back to recollect. Low trying to get over. I think he's almost on the ground there. Yeah, indeed, he is penalised for that. He's sealing. I did call it. So he was sealing there. So, yeah, it will be an English penalty with just 6 minutes left in this half. So, I mean, English have done very well so far. Granted, they're not winning, but they're really putting a lot of pressure on Ireland. They're just rushing their defence up, and Ireland making so many mistakes. So, yeah, as an English fan, I'd be quite chuffed. I just want to see a few more points on the board, I suppose. And as Dylan says, very much so. Ireland not looking like the #1 team in the world right now. But I'm sure that they'll fix themselves up in the second half. Again, a little bit of rustiness to shake off before the World Cup. That's why we have these games. We want the poor games to happen now. We don't want them to happen during the World Cup. That's exactly when we don't want things to happen like that. Scrappy ball here from England, and luckily the ref's whistle saves them. Ireland just penalised there for playing the man in the air. So England have given away 7 penalties, I think it is. Yeah, 7 penalties, and Ireland 5 penalties they've given away. So quite a few penalties so far in this game. It's very, very broken. I won't say it's been a very exciting game, but it's been a very, head-to-head. Oh, it's a shocking kick there from England. But Lowe tries to keep it out. Eventually gets the ball back and kicks it forward. And it's still in, and it's knocked on by England. Oh, my word, what a comedy of errors from England. First, the kick doesn't go out. They try to go too far. Lowe managed to keep the ball in, kicks it forward, and is dropped by Vunipola. So really not looking good. Vunipola, they should never be dropping that. I cannot believe Vunipola dropped that. I really can't. That's quite criminal from him. Oh well, we carry on. Dylan saying, is it still too soon to liken the ball as a potato that they are all fighting over? Well, I suppose at this point, yeah, there's just lots of knock-ons. Nobody really wants to hold on to it at this point. I do enjoy that. Thoughts on the first 40, did England really miss foul? I don't think so at all. England have actually been very good. George Ford's been all right. I think the kicking could be improved a little bit, though, I must say, from England. The kicking game's working for them, just forcing Ireland back the whole time. But then they just keep kicking it too far and allowing Ireland just to get that little bit of security in terms of the mark and the 22. Great scrum there from Ireland. They get the advantage, and it's a penalty to Ireland. Well, they're going to carry on. They've got the penalty advantage, so Ireland now can play with a little bit of freedom here. They try a backline move. Daly saw it, but he doesn't make the tackle. Comes to Mac Hansen, and he gets taken out on the halfway line. I think we might well come back for penalty. We do indeed come back for the penalty. Ooh, I think I've just almost broken his chair. Not quite. We do come back, though, for that penalty there. Yeah, let me know your guys' thoughts on these first 40 minutes here. A little bit of an injury here for Ireland in the back here. I can't quite see who it is. Dan Sheehan looks like he's going to be coming out. He's not looking happy about life. So that's not good for the Irish. No, wait. Look, maybe it looks like he's staying on. So the Irish have kicked from that penalty now, and indeed, Sheehan is going to come off. Very, very unfortunate, because that might put some doubt into his World Cup if he has got a serious injury there. It's the other issue with these warm-up games. You do risk injuries. I mean, maybe it's just a precautionary thing for Sheehan, which would be, of course, backed, I'm sure, by many, many people. But that's a bit of a sight to see there. I think he's going straight down the tunnel and hopefully go and see some medical staff there. Actually pulls the ball back there for Ireland after that line out, but not able to. But Ireland still have the ball close to their halfway line. And here comes Lowe. He passed the ball in for, oh my word, great play from Ireland so far. Great little piece of broken play, unfortunately broken down just inside the 22 there. Gibson Park now fielding for the ball. Trying to get it out. It's very slow to get it out, though. He's slowed it out too much. But Ireland still got space in the wing. If they can get the ball out, they do get the ball out. Here comes O'Mahony, I think it is. Yes, indeed. He's cut down eventually. Still, here comes Ireland on the attack. Can England hold out? Just 2 minutes until the half-time. They go in half-time at 7-3. It's very good. Mac Hansen chips the ball out to the wing here. Who's it going to be? There's an opening, he gets over. Indeed, try time to the Irish. Unlucky for the English, they were doing so well up until then, but not now. I think it's... So, there you go. The Irish do go over I think it's Ringrose who gets over. Indeed, Gary Ringrose. I always say Gringos. I don't know why. Gary Ringrose goes over for the Irish. Great little chip there from Mac Hansen. Finds him in space. Ringrose, of course. And as a result, the Irish now 12 points to 3. And I said, for England, that's very, very heartbreaking because they were doing so well up to that point. If you went to halftime at 7-3, you're thinking, yeah, this game is completely there, very much within just one try. And just before halftime now, they've had that little bit of advantage just snubbed out a bit with that second try to Ireland. Now it makes it a little bit more difficult into the second half. Look, they're still very much in it, England. It's not like they're out of it at all, but they don't want to let those points keep creeping upwards. And the kick to come here for Ireland. Byrne will be kicking, of course, or Bernie, or however you want to say it. Ross Byrne is going to have an attempt here. Let's see how he fares. And he's, oh my word, shocking kick, to be honest. He's missed that by quite some distance. So we'll only stay at 12-3. Yeah, we've just got the final piece of play here happening before half-time. And we've almost got 300 of you watching, so great to have you all here. Welcome to the channel. Again, if you guys are looking for a way to watch the game, be sure to go and check the description of the video. It does go and tell you exactly how you can do that, utilizing our partners, ExpressVPN and Bitdefender. And on top of that, if you guys are looking for some betting advice for rugby, and if you guys are, all of you bettors as well, be sure to go and check out our new partner to the channel, Boyle Sports. They've just joined the South African community here, and otherwise you can still do it for the international community. Great channel there, and great channel to go and do your betting through. So go and check them out as we do hit halftime here in this game. So I'm going to go and take us off into the live break, just so you can go and see those stats and whatever happened during this game. So I'll see you for the second half. Thank you so much for watching so far. Be sure to stay here. We're going to halftime here in the Rugby World Cup warm-up match. Ireland with 12 points. England with 3. Hello, hello. Hello. Hello, hello, hello. Sorry. I didn't realize we are live. We are into the second half here. Ireland versus England. My word. Yeah, England's defense were not bad at all in that first half. So that was very, very much impressed with. So let's see what happens in this second half as we get going here. So welcome everybody. Let me just go and get the other studios so that you guys can see what's happening there. You go, Tracker Studio, fantastic. And again, if you guys are new and you've never seen my face before, and it's been a while, I have done many a stream, but it's been a while since I've been on the rugby. Last time I think I was on was in April, which was a fair distance ago. So hello. We are back for the second half here. England starting well again. Just making a small error there. But George Ford just trying to get the troops going and get the team going. I think England are very much in this. Ireland looking a little bit shaky. 4 handling errors already from Ireland. So that just gives you a little bit of a heads up as to exactly how they're doing so far in today's game. So yeah, very, very interesting that, of course. So all to play for, and I cannot wait to see what happens in the rest of this game here, because I reckon England could seriously maybe pull off an upset if they do all right. And of course they're without Owen Farrell, who's currently being investigated for various things. So we'll see what happens with that. And then also, I mean, Ireland, it's the first. I mean, they haven't played many games in the last couple of months for a lot of the players. A lot of the players have not been playing rugby much, so it's basically a lot of rustiness they need to shake off. And do they manage to do it by the end of the game? I mean, we're only about 2-3 weeks away from the Rugby World Cup, which we are so excited to bring you on this channel as well. So be sure to subscribe if you're new, because we're going to be bringing you some unmatched coverage in terms of the YouTube scene and otherwise, and fan cams and everything. Every game will be done on this channel. We'll be bringing you just immense content for the World Cup. So be sure to stick around. England now with the ball. Here comes... Oh, who is that actually? Sorry, just lost it there. Who it was. George Ford now kicking the ball forward for a chase. There doesn't seem to be much of one. There we go. Here comes Ireland now. And Keenan now chasing this ball. Comes to George Ford. He fends it off nicely. Oh, big tackle there from Keenan. And it's now kicked forward there again from England. Now here comes James Lowe. He kicks it forward quite deep into the 22. That's going to be marked from England, surely. Yeah, indeed, it is marked there by George Ford yet again. All in the action here in the first half. Yeah, just looking at the comment section. Let's go and see. Oh, apparently yeah, so yeah, Happy Boo just saying they missed the kick at goal, Ireland, and so maybe South Africa not the only team struggling with the kicks at the moment. Well, I think we are one of the worst kicking nations at the moment in terms of for posts. It's not been looking great. England there with the restart from the 22 not going out, so Ireland fielded now up and under, and they're chasing it down. Oh, it's a bit spilt there from Youngs. Youngs now not trying to make up his mind, eventually gets through to his fullback. Oh, George Ford has to pass it back to his fullback again, and oh my word, England just stuffing around a little bit too much there. Itoje there to just clear up the ruck. And indeed, there you go. I told you they were stuffing around a bit too much, England. It's a penalty against them for sealing there. Stewart, I think, was called off it. So not the greatest start for England there in the second half so far. They're going to come under immediate pressure from Ireland. Just 4 minutes into this half. They're going to kick it right onto the 5 meter here. Indeed, Byrne does kick it there. So let's see if they can score from this. Just trying to set up some other small things in the background. Apologies about that. Just trying to see what's happening there. As we do see some more substitutions happening. Snickler's just come on for England. So we'll see how he fares in the remainder of today's match. And Ireland do get that ball there. It's O'Mahony who went up, I think it was, and has come down with the ball. And it's a maul that's somewhat disrupted. England are all over this ball. I think England have done very well here. Ireland need to get this ball out. It's going to go to England. It's a scrum to England. Fantastic defence by England there. Yeah, doing exceptionally well so far on the defence side of things. Their attack's not been brilliant, but the defence has been top tier in terms of just forcing mistakes from the Irish. Lots of mistakes now creeping into the Irish game. So Yeah, they won't be too chuffed about that. I don't think the Irish at least. But again, they're still winning 12-3, so maybe they're absolutely fine. Indeed, if you guys are joining us again, be sure to go and check the description of the video to go and see how exactly you can watch all of this rugby for free using our partners, ExpressVPN and Bitdefender. And also, if you guys are looking for a way in which you can bet and bet on the game, be sure to go and check out Boyle Sports, also in our description, and go and check out our new betting video where you go and get a whole lot of advice about who to put bets on and how we can win you money. Yeah, indeed. We can win you the money, and that's what we're going to try and do. As Happy Boo goes, it says, great maul defense there by England. Indeed, it was great maul defense, and now we're going to have a scrum to England inside their own 22, of course. Snickler is on here. No, he's not been getting much of a chance in terms of starting much for England, so let's see if he can fare decently now. Here we go. Could he put a big scrum in? Looks to be doing quite decently against Ireland here. That's quite a stalemate. I mean, rather. Oh, England gets the advantage. They push through eventually. It's going to be a penalty, though, to Ireland for swinging round. Courtney Laws thought it was to England. But indeed, an Irish penalty indeed. And oh my word, there's a little bit of hanky-panky here. Yeah, the Irish trying to get that ball back. And the Englishman of... Sorry, actually, who is that over there? I think it's Vunipola is just having a bit of issue with them. It is indeed Vunipola. Yeah. Just get up other things in the background whilst I'm here. Yeah, so Ireland now had a line out on the 5 meter, but now have lost it, and it will now be an English free kick here on their own 5 meter line. So we're already 7 minutes into the second half. It feels like it's going a lot quicker than the first half. So again, very low scoring game as well so far. I mean, Ireland only with 12 points, England with 3. I mean, you'd expect a little bit more point scoring between these two teams who's, Ireland's, of course, coming from a little bit of a break. And England, they've been looking very shaky recently. And it's a penalty to England here from on the 5 meter line. Kick there by George Ford. It's not the greatest kick. Is it George Ford? Yeah, it is George Ford. Not the greatest kick by him, if I'm honest. But an alright one, just outside the 22. And they'll get going again, England, I'm sure. Maul has been called by the ref. England's taking it out of their line out here. Let's see if they can get it out, because it's seemingly struggling, although the ball did manage to get released. So it should be an English just ruck here. So yeah, they do still have possession of the ball. Young's now commanding here. Vunipola coming up with the ball, and he motors forward and unfortunately doesn't manage to get too far. Young's now with the ball. He's going to have a box kick. It's going to be a chase from England. Lowers under it for Ireland. Passes through to Keenan. And is taken down there. Now Low comes with the ball. Oh, it's a bit of a mishit, the kick there down the middle. But I think Youngs has just missed it a little bit. He's now eventually regathered. Oh, he's chosen not to kick. Oh, no, he does eventually kick towards Ireland's 22, but not able to get too far. Keenan now with the ball. He kicks it back. It's going to be a bit of a kicking game straight into the England 22. Much easier now for, I think this is Youngs on the ball. And he kicks it forward. That will go out for an Irish line out, more or less on the halfway line. So here, Ireland now just getting a little bit of in the ear in terms of getting told what's going to happen now with this line out. I think England are making a couple of subs as we speak about it. So who's this coming on here? Ribbons has come off for England, and Chesham has come on, and Ireland win that line out very, very easily, passing it through. Oh, almost broke away there for Van der Vliet. Coming forward now, Ireland. They've got a lot of numbers on the outside there. English defence not looking as strong as it was in the first half. Gibson Park now just controlling it for Ireland. Passes it through. Soft hands from Ireland as well, just playing it through the forwards at the moment. Lots of numbers here as it comes to Mac Hansen, and he's taken down in the midfield as well. Still on the halfway line here, Ireland. It's not making too much ground. Ireland now with a little bit of space on the outside. Oh, not able to take advantage of it. Ireland now. Mac Hansen passes it out. Ireland's still staying on this halfway line at this point, so really not... And yeah, now we've finally got a breakage in play there for Ireland. Oh, O'Mahony just having a big hit there on Watson. Yeah, just seeing the penalty there for England once again. Just sealing there from Ireland, slash Laws, sorry, I think getting over and just holding on to the ball there. Ref just getting a lot of chat from the Irish players, just telling them to calm down essentially at this point in time. And TMO now just checking up on the ref here, saying that there's a bit of foul play to check. So let's see what happens here. Oh dear, that's going to be a big trouble for Vunipola. Last week, Owen Farrell got in trouble for... Oh my word, that's a red card. That's 100% a red card from Vunipola. Shocking from him there. My word, talk about a deliberate shoulder charge straight into the man's face. No attempted use of the arms. That's a straight red. That's an obvious red. You cannot say anything but, and that's going to be surely a sighting as well for Vunipola. England all falling apart right before the start of the World Cup. Owen Farrell first last week. Laws now getting spoken to the ref. Only a yellow card. No ways. That's a shoulder straight to the face. No attempt at trying to... That's dangerous play, and it's only a yellow card. Unless they're going for the under review. I was about to say, yeah, that would make more sense. It's the under review. I'm sure it will turn into a red card very shortly. So, shocking play from Vunipola there. And England are down to 14 men. Pending. And then, for 10 minutes at least, if not for the rest of the game. Let me just go and get that up for them. This would be a yellow card to England. There we go. So Ireland now making use of that penalty as a result of that foul play from Vunipola. They kick the ball straight into the English 22. And they will have an attacking line-out. I'll get there eventually. Attacking line-out, sorry. And of course, they've got a man up now. O'Mahony makes his way off the field. He's had a great game today. So he's come off the field here as being substituted. And the youngster comes on in his place. Just seeing here, it is Caden. Who's it? Joe McCarthy, indeed. Oh, and Ireland do win the line-out just after a little bit of fumbling there in the air. And yeah, England with that man down now, struggling to defend this, whereas previously they were doing really, really well. But Gibson Park managed to take the ball out fine. Now comes the key, who's got a bit of space on the outside here. Ireland have got space. Look at Mac Hansen, although Lowe's going by himself stupidly. I don't know what he was trying to do there. gets taken out. Unfortunately, Ireland don't have an easy try there, and England having to release there for that tackle. Gibson Park just managing the situation, passes through to the forwards who's going to try and drive it up, but it should have been a sure try to Ireland. James Lowe just decided to hold on to the ball for some reason. Oh, Ireland still with soft hands here. Great running here. Here comes Furlong. He's going forward. He's making some ground here. Gibson Park now passes through to the wings of James Lowe and Max Hansen. Is he going to get over? England trying to get over. Not able to. Gibson Park once again finds his forwards here. Here comes Van der Vlies. Van der Vlies, sorry. I don't want to say Van der Vlies. Gibson Park now holding onto the ball. Surely this is going to be a try for Ireland. They're just 5 meters out from the English try line. The English defense been all right today. And it's over the top, easy as you like, in the corner with the numbers as a result of that yellow card. Ireland do go over for their third try of the day. And it is James Lowe with that try. Well, England would do all right, and then Vunipola, just a moment of madness from him. Now England are all but out of this game. And the world number ones will remain world number ones definitely after today. England just going to unfortunately capitulate here. I'm sure it will turn into a red, and they're going to have 14 men for the rest of this game. And given the fact that they were really struggling with 14 men right now, that's going to be quite a few points I think that's going to happen against them. Pity for England. They were doing all right until then. Bizarre. Bizarre from Vunipola as to what he was thinking of doing there. No attempted use of the arms. Shoulder straight to the face of the Irish player. And 17 points to 3 with the kick time to come. And 55 minutes into this game. The Aviva Stadium is rocking now. The Irish firmly in the driving seat. As Happy Bruce says in the comments, I do quite enjoy that. England must be getting very comfortable with playing with 14 men. Start the match with 14 men, perhaps. It might be a bit of a better one. So I do enjoy that as well. Here comes the kick. Oh, my word. It's also off the post, off the upright. Doesn't go over. So there's 2 kicks missed now. First one, the first miss he should have definitely, I think, got. But this one's a little bit more understanding for a miss. But your kicking not been great today from various teams. Including Wales, South Africa, and England and Ireland so far. We still, of course, got a game after this. It's France and Fiji, I believe, where Wesley will be on that. So be sure to stick around for that as well. And we're just confirming now the ref is just going to have a chat to, I think this is Vunipola, with regards to that under the review. And it's going to change from a yellow card to a red card. It will be upgraded to that red card, which is what we all thought it would be. Red card to Vunipola. He will not be playing in the rest of this match. A high degree of danger and no mitigation from him. And that could well result in a sighting, of course, come Monday. And he might well be missing a couple of games in the World Cup as well. So, England losing big names to stupid pieces of play in games that essentially don't really matter. I mean, I can't believe the Owen Farrell last week, now Vunipola this week. It's just, where's the discipline in that English side? The game has restarted meanwhile, and Ireland do have the ball in their 22. So let me know in the comments what you think of that tackle, that attempted tackle from Vunipola. It was a bit of a shocking one, if we're honest. I really don't quite understand what he was trying to do there. And Furlong has now made his way off the field as well. So all of the big names in Ireland making their way to the bench. No point risking injury. They've done their job. It's 17-3 right now. England have got a red card. There's no chance of them really coming back into this. So may as well put on the bench, test them out before the World Cup gets going. England, however, are actually advancing quite well with this maul here, although they're getting very close to the near touchline. They somehow managed to keep it in. Although I think Young's stupidly managed to put his foot out as he clicked on the ball there. Yeah. Oh well. Unlucky there for England. It will be an Irish throw in there. Ah dear. Let me know say in the comments, guys. What do you think of England's performance so far today? I mean, they were doing all right in the first half. I thought they could do something in the second half, but then just a moment of madness from Vunipola ruins all of that as well. England now trying to come forward themselves. Can they do anything? Here comes England, though. I mean, funny enough. Oh, here we go. Staff George Ford. No, it's not. England are actually coming at Ireland a little bit. They seem to be having the best piece of attack all game out of nowhere with this red card. And it's an advantage now to England. And here comes Joe Marler, the stalwart legend of English rugby. He gets taken down, of course. As comes now to Ford, who's, I think it was Daly actually, passed it out to Watson. Watson's danced his way into the 22. And, oh, no, the ref's going to come back. I think there was a little bit of foul play involved. So we're just going to have a break and play here. 2 Irish players down. Looks quite a little bit more serious than usual. I think they might have hit heads, clashed heads perhaps. James Lowe, one of them, he looks all right. But the other one I can't quite see, but it looks a little bit worse for wear. It looks like it's Aki, I think it is. Or Bundy Aki. Yeah, a clash of heads. Oof. Ow, 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 ow. It was the attempted tackle on Watson. Both of them clashed their heads together. Yeah, that's going to be a bit sore in the morning. Just going to the comments here. Gary saying it was a clear red. Guess the system is working in that the referees are now not required to make critical calls that could influence a game, and only to realize later on the call was incorrect. And yeah, it's actually a very good. I love the system. I don't understand why they hadn't done it for ages. And also because often in red cards, they take a long time to make it up. And then you just lose so much time to the game. You've got officials in the background. Let them do the job whilst you're on field doing some stuff. So it's good that they're going to do that now. And we don't have to waste nearly as much time. We're just having a water break now, just before the 60 minutes here. Just had 58 minutes in this game. And we will then, of course, get going again. And I think it will be an English penalty to get us going. Yeah. Hearing from Richard that Italy have got 43 points to Romania's 7. So Italy's going on very nicely there in the game happening at the same time. And Michael just asking, who has been given that red card? It was Vunipola, which I do need to just go and upgrade quickly on our little thing here. Let's go take that off. Red card to England. Vunipola with that red card. Yeah, shocking moment of madness, and we'll go back to it, I'm sure, at some point. Yeah, and all the big names for Ireland are coming off now. James Lowe now also making his way off the field. So most of the Irish subs are coming on now. We see Keith Earls now earning his 100th international cap for Ireland. Fantastic there for Keith Earls. And the standing ovation in the Aviva Stadium for his 100th cap. And hopefully he can go and do something great for this team. Maybe go and score a try perhaps going into the last 20 minutes of this game here. Great accolade for the Irishman. And he gets a great standing ovation from his home crowd as well. So let me know in the comments, guys. I mean, should England be worried going into this World Cup with the fact that their discipline is failing them, and maybe this is going to put a bit of a lot of talking points on them going into the World Cup, which is exactly what they don't want to do. They don't want cameras all over them going into the World Cup. But right now, all the talk in the World Rugby is about the English team. First now Owen Farrell, now it's Vunipola. And, you know, one imagines that maybe even before the World Cup we could see another one if they're not careful. England, however, coming on the attack here at great length. And the substitutes now trying to make their mark here. Danny Kerr trying to control the midfield. He's come on for Youngs, of course. He's now passing it off to his big forwards here. Joe Marler just clearing out there. Here comes Kerr. They've got space here, England, that they can try and make use of it. Although I think that's going to be turned over. No, not going to be turned over there. Ireland tried it. I think it was actually, in fact, Earls on his 100th cap. His first involvement was an attempted turnover. Comes to Sinclair here. Sinclair, I mean. Kerr now controls the ball. Gets it out. Martin Tuilagi is unfortunately taken down. Kerr now still passing through. Comes back to... Oh, my word. Yeah, Joe Merchant there just getting a bit isolated. They had a penalty to Ireland for holding on, which I don't quite understand because he looks to be off his feet there. But very, very odd there. Old Beelan. Old Finley Beelan gets rewarded for his efforts, but he definitely looked like he was off his feet, so bit of an odd one. John says in the comments, go on Earlsy. Indeed, on his 100th cap. Suppose he is actually on the ball longer enough so that he doesn't get penalised for going off his feet. So, great work there from Beelam. Manu Tuilagi now is making way and he's coming off the field. He had 5 carries, 46 meters made, tackles made 5, offloads 1. It's not a bad game for him at all, but unfortunately his team are losing 17 points to 3. No tries scored for England today, and I'm not sure they're going to. That was pretty much one of their last few attempts at doing it because I think Ireland will dominate the rest of this game. Oh, and it's been mishandled there by Elliot Daly there. Here comes, oh, here we go. England on the attack a little bit. George Ford trying to start it. Now comes to Courtney Laws. Laws, oh, my word, just being completely picked up there by Joe McCarthy. Now Otoja tries to spring forward and Kerr now grabs it forward, but there's nobody to support England with him. Eventually, there's a little bit of support coming from one of the forwards there, but Ireland chip it forward back into the English half. Now England's got lots of space to play with if they can come forward at a rapid pace here. They're going to try and make Watson work. No, they're just going to kick it forward. There's lots of space in behind Ireland. Unfortunately, the ball doesn't bounce very nice. Now it comes to Earls. And, yeah, he passes infield to... to old Hansen there. Now coming forward again is Daly. Elliot Daly dancing along the side there. Eventually gets taken out easily. Oh, the ball's out, and Ireland's going to go and take it. England were not shepherding it very well. It's been kicked forward by Ireland. I think it was Joe. Was it Joe McCarthy with the chip forward? It almost worked for Ireland, but England eventually kicking that ball forward again. But it's still in play here. We haven't stopped playing rugby in about 5 minutes here. These players are tired as anything. Oh, great tackle there from Mauro Itoje. Although I think it was a high tackle. Indeed, a high tackle from Mauro Itoje. This could even be a yellow card, and it's knocked on by Ireland. Could we see another card here? I don't think so. I think it was an all-right challenge. Don't be wrong. Yeah, a high tackle, definitely. I'm not sure it was necessarily too dangerous, though. Just seeing here. Yeah, just slips up, unfortunately, from Mauro Itoje. It won't be a yellow card. I'm sure it'll be just staying there. But English players can't seem to keep their hands down on the tackles. Bit of a worry, I think it might be. It's got a long stoppage and play here for a couple of injuries, so we'll get back there soon. So Ireland's now got a line out on the English 5 meter, and of course there's down a forward, so we could see quite a strong maul here from the Irish. Oh, they've chosen not to go for the ball. They've tried a different move. And they've got a little bit of space, but England have seen it, so they've just countered it immediately, stopping Ireland in their tracks, not able to get forward at all. So currently, I think it's a penalty advantage to Ireland. So they've got room to play here and do whatever they want in terms of how they go about this attack, as they're on the English try line, basically. Can they get over for their third try of the day? Fourth try of the day. Sorry, what am I talking about? Fourth try of the day. England really struggling to keep this Irish side back, having been a man down now. Another new advantage here. And now they're trying something interesting. They're trying the backline move. The long ball over the top. Can Hansen finish in the corner? He dives one. He goes over. And there you go. Ireland, once again, gets some more points in this game. They move up to 22 points to England's 3 with the kick to come. As easy as that. Happy Bruce saying, we need to call Ratzi to help England with the tackle technique. He made a great demonstration video with Estes a few years ago. Indeed, it's exactly that. I remember those sort of things, and we have a laugh. Because, I mean, once again, same player, involved, being old Owen Farrell. Now, Vunipola, clearly it's rubbing off on him too. Easy as you like, try there for Ireland. They're just a long ball over the top, and when, of course, you've got only 14 men, you're always going to be having a lack of numbers on the outside, and that's exactly what happened there for England. They had a lack of numbers on the outside. They could never stop it. Hansen goes over. Yeah, so Ireland looks like it's a good scoreline for them, but if I'm frank, they weren't playing particularly well until that Vunipola red card. So, yeah, I mean, still quite a bit of work to do for the Irish. Here comes Ross Byrne with the attempted conversion, and it's the third miss in a row. So kicking's not been good today for the winning side. South Africa versus Marty Libbok missed 5 kicks, and Ross Byrne has now missed 3. So not brilliant kicking today on display for all of you rugby fans. Must apologise for that, and they're all on their behalf. Restart has restarted. And Ireland do get the ball in their 22. And they're just going to pass along, apparently, to their forwards in the midfield here. And Conor Murray is now fielding, of course, at scrum half for Ireland. England now with the ball inside Ireland's half after that kick out. It didn't go out, so England still have the ball here. And they've moved up midfield here. So it's going all right for England, I suppose, in this current piece of play. They've got numbers. Oh, it's a forward pass of note. So they're going to come back for that, I'm sure. Yeah, they will come back for that now. Terrible forward pass there for England. Daly, unfortunately, not able to go and take that ball and attempt to score a try. Irish bench looking very, very calm there. Yeah, Aki went off for an HIA apparently. And yeah, it seems like he's passed it, so he should be able to come back. Although I don't know if Ireland will risk it. I think they're just going to take him off. I think he'll just go sit in the bench because there's no need to risk your big names. World Cup's around the corner. Games in the bag. They've had good minutes there under their belts. So I'm sure they'll stick to the bench there for Aki there. So just 13 minutes left of this game. I'm sure the English fans are counting down at a rate of knots because, yeah, I think it could just get more and more ugly as the game goes on here for England, as Ireland have got, of course, that number advantage. Although that was poor from Ireland. Just literally just passed it straight to the English player who was retreating. And now England can attack. Oh, my word. What a hit there from, I think that was Watson there. Just shoving off the Irish player. They've got a bit of numbers here, England, if they can try and spread it out wide. Oh, great little dart there from George Ford. Unable to get away from him. Now comes forward the big number 18, Finlay Beelum. Not Finlay Beelum, sorry, that's for Ireland. What am I talking about? That's Kyle Sinclair there. They had it. Kerr now has the ball. He passes it through to George Ford, who's had an all-right game today. Now it comes to was it Watson? Sorry, it's Watson. What am I saying? Watson indeed has the ball. And it's now held up by Ireland. And that's now, unfortunately, going to be a maul. And I think Ireland will win the scrum. Indeed, it will be a scrum to Ireland. So, not brilliant there for England. They could have done something, but not, unfortunately, in the end. Yeah, I mean, look, I've not been too impressed with Ireland's game. They've had a lot of mistakes. They've made a lot of errors. And there's lots to work on. But, of course, getting the win is important. And it's against a big team like England. Of course, England are in a little bit of a crisis. But, you know, it's still a good win. But I think the main reason for winning this by what was going to become a relatively comfortable margin is due to Vunipola's acts of stupidity. So, not great by him there. So, we'll see what happens in terms of the review. And should he get cited as well? Watson has now come off, and the big young name of Marcus Smith makes his way onto the field for England. Let's see how he can fare in these final few minutes. Doris has also come on for Ireland, or Caelan Doris. Has come on in the number 20 shirt. Lots of substitutions happening right now, in the game. So there's not much action to speak about or to talk about. But other than the fact to say, England were actually fairly decent that first half with their defence. So they'll be chuffed with that. But otherwise, their discipline has really letting them down recently. And I think they're going to have a look at that. It's going to be a bit of a problem. So we've got the scrum now finally taking place. Conor Murray with the ball in hand as he's about to feed it into the scrum. Of course, England only with 7 people in the scrum, so they're going to have to do well to try and hold this Ireland pack from getting an advantage. Ref told them to take the ball out, so yeah, England do well. And it's knocked on by Ireland, so England don't do just a little bit well, but they do very well there. And there's a lot of passion there shown by England's number 7, Ben Earl. He was very, very happy with the fact they managed to cause that error on Ireland, so yeah, again, it's what I've said throughout the entire game. It's been a lot of Irish mistakes, funny enough. It's not been the cleanest game for them. They've just been lucky with regards to England not being particularly good in terms of the discipline parts of it. And, yeah. Lots of handling errors for Ireland today. Into the last 10 minutes of this game now. So England, after that scrum now comes out. It is indeed Earl that came away with the ball. It's an advantage to England as well, so they can do whatever they want to. So hopefully they can score a try. Hansen out very, very quickly to go and meet number 13 of England there, old Joe Merchant, or Marchant, or however you want to say it. Tap taken very quickly there from Kerr, and almost a big hit there, but not able to make it completely. And I think almost a little bit of a small injury there to Ireland. Not quite. England almost scoring a try here right on Ireland's line. Can they make it count? It's a little bit of messy rucking there from England, but they eventually do secure the ball. I think Sinclair's over this. Will he pick it up and go? Itoje's on his back there just to support him. Sinclair goes, and I think he's gone over. I think that is a try to England. Ref has called a try, and England do get some points on the board, so they get a little bit of rewards for their efforts today. And Sinclair goes over for a try, just almost underneath the post, so it should be 22 points to 10 after the kick here. Sinclair goes over. Very good work from him to get over. And, yeah, Itoje also supporting him there. And the kick's been taken very quickly there and gone straight over. So it is indeed 22 points to 10. Such a big man, Sinclair. It's very, very difficult to stop him on the line there. And Ireland were unable to do so. So Ireland very slow to the restart here, as they would be, of course. They're trying to just defend their lead. They do have a man advantage, so they shouldn't have to stress too much with trying to hold on to that lead, but just taking their time to get back there. Eventually, we're going to get this game underway again. Some subs happening now as well. And Crowley now will be getting us underway. Jack Crowley, of course. And Hansen chases very well, but unable to make the tackle on Laws. Oh, and the ball's been stolen by Ireland. So now here comes Ireland with the ball on in England's 22 now. There's a great little run there from Josh van der Fleer. And they're passing it all the way out wide to the man on his 100th test. And he will do it. He scores in the corner on his 100th test cap. And look at what it means to the team. Fantastic for Keith Earls. He goes on in the corner of, well, I think it's pretty much like his second or third touch of the game. And he will get another try in his international career. And look at how happy the Irish are for him. And yeah, he goes and gets another try. Just as England scored, he goes and gets the advantage back. Fantastic from Keith Earls on his 100th cap. That's his 36th international try. What a moment for him, and I'm sure his family will be very chuffed, as are all the fans in the Aviva Stadium as well. Picks it up over his head, dives for it, and he does the little roly-poly as he goes over as well. So, fantastic for him. And so very, very happy Aviva Stadium for him. Looking at his family there and his daughter, they are very chuffed for him as well. Indeed, what a special moment. So, now Crowley, of course, can he get the kick over? The last 3 attempted conversions from his teammates were missing, and that is going to stay in. So, fantastic kick there from Crowley, or Crowley, I don't know how you want to say it. It depends on who you are. People say it differently. But great kick there for him. Got his better kicking boots on than Ross Byrne. Just watching that try again. Goes over in the corner. Great little finish. And look at how chuffed the Irish coaching staff are. So chuffed for their man on his 100th. So England have a restart, and they took it slow, and they took it quite a short restart, and it's worked very well for them. We're scrum now to, I think it's Ireland. I think England managed to knock it on, or at least there was a maul, and I think Ireland managed to hold it up. So it will be a scrum now. I think to Ireland or England, I can't quite see. Yeah, there's an Irish scrum. Conor Murray with the ball in his hand, so he's going to put it in now. Just 4 minutes left of this game. Oh, the scrum's just collapsed a little bit there. We're going to have a reset, yeah. That's a penalty to England, apparently. I think they stood up too many times. I think the ref was getting over it. So England go for the line, and it's just inside the 22 of the Ireland's half. Mac Hansen has been voted player of the match. He has been very lively today, so very much deserved, I think, for the man in the white scrum cap, which is still as clean as when he started the game. So it tells you how much contact he likes to take. Very interesting there, of course, to note as well. He just managed to just stay clean, basically. Dan, of course, for England. Theo Dan, that is, putting the ball in. And they're going to try the maul approach to Ireland. against Ireland, rather. Joe Marler eventually joining their care, controlling at the back. I think they're going to need to get this ball out. I think it's an advantage, or just used once. So the ball does come down. The ball is available. No, it's not. And it will be an Irish scrum. Couldn't get it out of the maul. So great work from the Irish there just to stop that from happening. 29 points to 10. Is that fair? Would you guys say that's fair for today's game? 29 points to 10. I think that's a fair reflection. I think it could have been a lot closer had England not, of course, been so useless with Vunipola making such a stupid decision. But that's, of course, not something many of them can control. So, oh well, that's what happens. Mac Hansen's made 11 carries today and made tons of meters as well. Unfortunately, the stat went away before I could continue. Yeah, the Irish staff must be quite happy with a lot of things they've seen today, but also there's a few things that need some serious work as well. Scrum here to Ireland now as they're getting this out. And eventually comes out as an advantage to Ireland. Knock-on advantage now to Ireland. Sorry, that's what it was from originally, I think it was. Comes forward as Aki. I think he's back on the field. Indeed, he is back on the field. I don't know why he's back on the field, but he wasn't earlier. And Conor Murray now takes the ball out. And Marcus Smith, who I've seen very little of since he's come on, is now going to fend for the ball at the back. And he's running at full pace here towards the Irish line. He fends one and he gets taken out. Ooh, fends off. Hansen gets absolutely shoved off by Marcus Smith. Oh, here we go. A gap here. Big gap here for Theo Dan. And he gets taken out eventually on the 22-meter line. Joe Marler now spills it forward. Unlucky for him. Now Ireland have the ball again. Comes to Hansen, who's going to come forward. He kicks it. And it's kicked it very deep here. And all the players are tired. It's recollected here by Elliot Daly. Comes to Marcus Smith. He tries to find a gap. He does find a gap. He's so tired, though. He's just trying to jog forward. Oh, big hit coming in on Marcus Smith as well. But England now retain possession. Kerr takes the ball out. Passes through to his midfield share. Comes to Kyle Sinclair. Not able to make the same sort of ground he made as he did earlier when he scored that try. Quick hands there. Hamish. Not Hamish. But the Watson misses it, unfortunately. I think it is Watson. No, it's not. Sorry, he's come off. It's Ollie Lawrence who's missed it there. And yeah, it's spilt by England. As we're heading on to the final 30 seconds of this game. So we're very, very close. We're very, very close to the end of this game. And I think English fans will be very chuffed for that. So pretty much the last piece of play is going to be from a line-out for Ireland. Herring's going to put the ball in, and I'm sure Ireland will pretty much kick the ball out immediately, and that'll be the end of today's game. It's been a hell of a game for Ireland in terms of making sure they got the win. England I just think the only thing we can really talk about is the fact that Vunipola has just been so useless as they knocked it on Ireland, and that will be the end of today's game. So it brings a stop to that, and yeah. Guys, thank you so much for watching Forever Motor. Very much. You can see our two other streams the whole time. Forever Sports, Forever Rugby on Forever Sports. Ireland win the game. 29 points to England's 10. And be sure to go and check out all of our partners, of course, Royal Sports for all those bets. And be sure to also go and check out Bitdefender and see how they can help you protect your PC and other things, of course. I've been Mark on Forever Sports here. We're almost up to 37,000 subscribers, so be sure to go and hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you again very, very soon. And we're getting very close to the World Cup, and it's going to be a fantastic World Cup as well. And we're going to be covering so much here on Forever Sports, so be sure to stick around, like all the videos, turn on your notifications, because it's going to be one hell of a time of the year in 2 months. And of course, some of the team are going out to France for the World Cup, which is going to be very exciting as well. And yeah, they're not going to ramble on for too much. Ireland win the game, 29 points to England's 10. England were good in the first half. Red card in the second half meant they could not do anything in terms of stopping Ireland scoring those extra few tries. And that brings us to the end of this World Cup warm-up match. Can England fix their discipline before the World Cup gets going? Who knows? Anyway, guys, thank you so much. I'm going to go do the review now.